I am Sure Sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is right, just representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am Sure Sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am Sure Sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick-Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick-Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Good afternoon. Greetings to you, one and all. Hope you're having a good day. If not, I hope by the end of this video, something would have been shared or said that would offer some sort of inspiration. I have missed you. It has been a while since I've been on, around 4 or so days. I had other things that I'm doing to get certain things. Somebody was saying, it is time now, somebody close to me, that you put the big DR before the money. Do you understand? So we said, no, man, we're not going to do that. But had some other engagements for those who maybe were waiting on a show and you didn't see one. Let me just apologize to you. Things just came up and I had to do what I had to do. And I'm still having some of those things to deal with at least until the Jamaica versus Argentina game is played, and after that I will have I'll be able to go back to our regular schedule of 11 in the morning and 8:30 in the evening. But lots of stuff has happened since the last time I was on. I'm going to be going through some of those stuff. I have two of my friends who will be joining me for this particular show. So please make sure, as usual, you hit the like button, you share the video, and if you have not yet subscribed to the platform, you can go ahead and do so. All right. Right before I came on, I got 2 bits of information that are sad, but I have to share to Georgians, players who played for St. George's College in the last 24 hours. They have lost 2 players, former players, stalwarts, big time players. Both, like I said, passed away within the last 24 hours. So condolences to the families of those who are mourning the loss of their loved ones, and to the St. George's school fan base and alumni, condolences. One is a player by the name of Wimpy, and the other one is a player. A lot of us know him more. His name is Chris Zedi. Both players have passed. Condolences to their families. All right. Sad note. On that, I also know that a former one of the persons who are part of the managed coaching staff had a relative who passed away. Well, he lost his life in Western Jamaica as well. And so, man, it is. I don't know what else we can do or what else we can say except that we continue to encourage people to 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 really consider other people's life. That there's a great deficit that is left when we take each other's life like this. The cycle never ends, and someone to encourage us to begin to value each other. And you don't have to kill somebody to win, because you don't really win, right? So let's find some more productive ways of dealing with the conflicts that we have, because we will have conflicts. And I have to also encourage myself on that path, because sometimes my emotions um, get a better of me, and I can understand other persons who probably are not at the place that I'm at, how they operate. And so even us who are in the positions that we are, we have to set better example. And I want to encourage some of you, just take some time and begin to engage some people and try to see if you can help one person on a path of change, because this vicious cycle of us killing each other, it must stop. All right. Big up to every single one of you in the chat so far. I see XLR8 Sports. I see Gunners Boss. Bless up. Heard that there was a big game today between the Miami Dolphins and the Ravens. Big game. Our football show, American football show, will be back with G Star, Kems, and Preacher, and the rest of the gang. Chris Lynch. Starting next week, you will see that show. So all of you football fans, just know that, yeah, that is going to happen. Big up to Brain Drain as well. He's in the chat, and Chris Romans is here as well. Brian, bless up yourself, right? Ben Teke also scoring his first goal. MLS season as DC United lead Inter Miami FC by 1-0 after 30 minutes. Gunners Boss saying, Chris Zedi and his brother Nicholas, I know in person. What's Wimpy's government name? How did Chris died? We don't want to get into all the details, because we're not sure that everyone who's supposed to know. Just at this time, hopefully in a later video, we'll be able to give you some more details. So just bear with us as we allow the family time to mourn and to grieve the loss of their loved one. All right. Yeah, man, definitely. So I want to encourage you. Bless up Coach Andrew Edwards in the building. What changes are we calling for? Listen, when you listen, Coach Andrew, you can be a part of the discussion as well. All right? You can be a part of the discussion. So let me just give me a sec, people. Yeah. So we will tell you that I'm going to talk, but I have with me my fellow gunners friend. He's going to be joining me. Really and truly, this must be an important video, because on the day that Arsenal has won, we are not going to discuss Arsenal. Again, we sit at the top of the Premier League title. All right, tie up the mongrel or put him in the back. Dolphins come back and win that game after being under pressure for most of it. He wants to tie up the mongrel. All right, Gunners Boss. All right, you're calling me pure bread dog mongrel, brother. You're the easy, What that's how it is. Lot of love for the love, my brother. Yeah, man. Then it starts with that. You understand me? we have to start respecting each other. And there are some of us, we get the opportunities to do that. So let us even listen. I am shifting how even my platform. I'm not going to entertain a certain level of disrespect, but um, yeah, but people must be free to express themselves, and we can do that without being disrespectful to each other. And so, if you choose to come on this platform and want to engage me or anyone else, please ensure that there is respect. Um, big up, Bert as well. Bert, you know that Chris Zedi died, and Wimpy, both of them played at St. George's, both passed in the last 24 hours. All right. A man says, don't, don't bring on Cranky. He's not with modern Arsenal. He's old school Arsenal. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if he says that, then that means I've been successful, very successful in the past. Unbeaten season, won championship. The modern Arsenal hasn't won anything, so I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Well, welcome, Cranky. Good afternoon. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
You know what? I watched the first half of the game and I was very, very happy. So good day, though I got some sad news as I was about to begin, but it has been a good day. You know, I have had the privilege of being around the newly appointed coach, and that has been a very good learning experience. So I'm very optimistic about what he can accomplish as a coach if the system around him facilitates him maximizing his potential.
So you're trying to rub off some of your competence on him. So when he gets in other environment, but it will narrow out, it will net out to zero. Is that what you're trying to say? So he will be hated.
No.
You know what's going to happen. He's going to be so frustrated dealing with certain parties that, you know, as we all are, by the way. So yeah, I would suggest that you get around him as much as possible, so you can show him that it's not all bad. That there's some
which is
the competence in the air someplace.
The truth is, I think, just in my brief interactions, that he's aware. You know, sometimes you're sort of aware that things are not where they're supposed to be, but you don't know how bad they are. It's almost like you have to, you can hear something, but you have to actually be in it. And first thing, you're shocked by the reality, but seeing the reality early gives you enough time to bring necessary changes.
I mean, he, no matter how much he thinks he knows, because I'm sure sometimes, you know, Europeans, they may go to Africa, they engage in certain environment, they think they have been, they have the experience so they can assess and project out how things are going to be. But then reality hits and they're like, oh my, this is nothing that I can anticipate it. So I think your job is going to be a difficult one in terms of trying to help him to acclimate. But it's not all hope lost, right?
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to give you I'm going to get into some of the stuff that I've heard from him that I think are very important. And this is based on his experience and what some of the principles and practices that have worked in other areas that I think, even with all our problems, there can be change. But let me say this though, I have to, I know that much has been said. I haven't been in this space for a while, Cranky. So I heard that there were some utterances about lawsuits and all of that. Honestly, I don't know the fulsomeness of those discussions about vloggers facing lawsuit and all of that. So listen, I say this, that people have always been criticizing people in public spaces, from prime ministers and presidents and CEOs and wealthy people. And so this is not anything new. And so I don't think that, like I said, I don't know the full nature of the discussion. I don't think it is in the Federation's best interest to begin to either send a threat, serious or not, to any particular grouping in order to shut them up. I think what you need to do is to open the airwaves for communication so you can facilitate the ideas from some of these groups and see if you can bring change instead of trying to create enemies, build bridges and create friendships. And so and that is what I want to tackle. I want to challenge the 4 persons in this thumbnail to begin to change their approach and attitude towards the assignment given to them. In fact, we need to clarify what their assignments are so we don't have any in agriculture they say cross-pollination. Go ahead, Grant.
So management, the problem you have is this, which is, I keep telling people this, in the corporate environment nowadays, you evaluate based on the what and the how. What do you do in terms of your job and how you come to your job, and how do you do your job? YouTubers who are now, I call them contemporary media, traditional media who have learned this over the years, players, the JFF, they do their what well, some of them, I can't say the JFF has, but the how, especially the people of Jamaican descent, including yours truly, I won't exclude myself from that, we need to learn how to execute the how much better. Because we believe that force is the solution to everything. We believe that intimidation is the solution to everything. And it's not. In fact, it's a turnoff, frankly. And it doesn't allow you to achieve your objective. So if I'm conciliatory, if I collaborate, if I want to compromise, you may want to engage me. But if I'm going to beat my chest, then I may not want to deal with you, right? And I think that's what we're happening. You just mentioned the whole threat that was made. The person delivering the message is a very smart person, a person who is well known, a person who has been there, done that, but still having some of those same, I'm going to call it cultural issues that they haven't been able to manage and are struggling with. And so they come and, like most Jamaicans do, they beat their chest. And what they do is they just make the other person on the other side just want to be the same way. So you get nowhere.
Yeah.
You get nowhere. All you have is 2 people both standing up beating their chests, or multiple people, and you achieve nothing by doing that.
Yeah, fighting each other while the building is being burnt down. Fighting
exactly.
over, should we use water or should we call the fire brigade?
And here's the word to management. They're in their corners. They influence people of the same persuasion, the same temperament, the same emotional incapability about how they engage. And so if you have me telling your management, yeah, man, you're doing that right. Yeah, man, I see you up, man. Yeah, man, you hit the man how to hit you. Then you never get to a good place, management, because both sides say the same thing. Your support network is saying the same thing. You end up no place. And you can't convince the management because they're 100% sure they're right in how they operate. And they know no better. And they'll never know better because objectivity has eluded them. And they can't think deductively enough to say, you know what, maybe I should look in the mirror and take a step back and reassess. They can't do that.
Yeah. So that assessment is absolutely right. All right. Gunners boss, Pepper Paul, I don't know, but the audio, is anyone else having any, I hear Pepper Paul saying that the audio is giving some problem on his end. I know a couple of times Cranky was freezing, but that's not happening.
I'm coming in and out. Wait. I've checked my internet. It should be okay. Wait 1 second.
Okay, you were at one point, but it's not anymore, so I don't know. But let me know if it's any better.
I did pay my bill, I did pay my bill. I just got I paid it, so it should be okay.
Yeah, but let me say this. All right, beginning with I have 4 pictures: Rudolph Speed, Earl Bailey, Roy Simpson, and Michael Ricketts. Now, these are 4 different departments in the Federation. No, sorry, I have to take this one. No, man, we are 3-0. We won yesterday by 3 goals to 1. We defeated Godfrey Stewart. So we are on 9 points, Ludwig. That's Manning Z.
What are you talking about, Mannings, man? Where are you off to now?
No, I responded to this comment from my fellow 1738, you know?
But for 1738, you and I know that you're just a competitor. You're not going to win eventually. So enjoy it while it lasts. You're not going to win the ultimate cup.
Do you know that we are going to finish further ahead in the DaCosta Cup than KC will in the Manning Cup this season?
Did you know that we drafted him Whisper, and he's looking like the best player in Manning Cup by a good margin.
Well, that's it, and he's probably the best player of your team. But that's probably it. You know,
he's probably the best player in the Manning Cup and the DaCosta Cup combined. Frankly, he looks a class above the rest. Don't worry about it. We don't worry about Casey. Who won last year in Manning Cup? Who won Manning Cup last year?
Who?
Yeah, who won last year?
I cannot recall.
Okay, good.
Brain Dream said, the man just have a show with the moderators telling people about their mother. I bet you that will not happen here. What?
I think we should we understand what you're saying, what inference is. My philosophy is this brain thing.
I don't know. Like people, let me just say, I don't know. Like I said, I have not been, so I'm not understanding. But you don't have to get into it, Cranky. But
no. What I want to say is that he's saying a YouTuber on his platform is having shows where things are not the way people are comporting themselves is not appropriate. That's what he's saying. Okay. And he said it wouldn't happen in your forum, which I wouldn't be if it did, frankly, because you stay away from those forums. And you can't change those people, so you just stay out of their way. You leave them alone to operate to their own vices. You stay out of their way. Let them operate the way they want to operate, and you operate in your own corner. You do your own thing. Because if they don't listen and can't take convincing, then you just have to allow the people to operate the way they want to.
Yeah. All right, so let me say this. Let me begin with Mr. Rudolph Speed, right? I think as a head of the technical committee, the change that I want him to make is to stick to what the technical committee is assigned to. And whenever he comes on any platform to speak, he must speak on matters pertaining to his department alone. Because what I find happening is that he is speaking concerning things that he's not over. And those things have been proven to not be so. And then you have to begin to decipher as to whether it is being truthful or lies or just lack of knowledge. So one of the first things he has to do is stick to his department, and those things must be clearly outlined. I want to know that who is the person who manages him, and say to him, listen, you went on and you spoke about this. That's not your portfolio. I don't think that is in the federation. I think he has the liberty to speak on any matter that he's questioned about, even those things that is for our next department.
No, he does say that sometimes. I think he says it when it's convenient to him.
But that's
so he'll say, I'm over the technical committee. You ask him a question about finance, and he doesn't want to talk about finance. He said, that's not my department. But he's glad to talk about something else, which is not a department where he wants to talk about it, right? And I think, look, there is no penalty. We know how the JFF is run, man. We have an idea. There's no penalty or repercussions for him to speak about matters outside his domain, outside of his expertise or his responsibility. I don't think the JFF operates that way. I think it's a very fluid organization where people in certain positions speak on matters they choose to speak on. I don't think they have protocol about who engages the public, who engages the press. They should. I assume that their charter should, but I haven't sensed it actually. I haven't seen it.
Which leads to the second issue and the second person that I have, who is a press officer. I just wanted, sorry, I just tried to, have certain comments. Big up Coach Minzy as well. Let me just, before I get to the second person, nobody from southern side or North Street won the Manning Cup last year, I believe, Stan.
But I was asking who won the Manning Cup last year. Who won last year?
Who won Manning Cup last year? What?
Yeah.
I cannot recall.
You guys in Jamaica don't remember who won Manning Cup last year? I'm amazed.
I cannot recall. But I cannot recall. But there is a press officer, and what I would like to know is what is the role of the press officer? I asked that question because this is about them changing. Because every time I find, let me say this, I find it that when an issue comes up, there is a deferring to somebody else other than the federation looking internally, right? And saying, okay, we are wrong in this. And then make a statement from the press officer to the public. All right. So what happened is that, all right, things are going bad. It is the vloggers. Things are going bad. It is the players. Things are going bad. It is the coach. Things are going bad. It is the sponsors. Things are going bad. It is the fans. Things are going bad. It is the diaspora. Things are going bad. It is outside influencers. When will the administration say that the constant in this is us? And all that all the people are asking for is that if we are going to stay, then we need to change how we do our jobs. Because I put it to you, if they start doing their job more efficiently and effectively, then even the people who are strident against them will come on board. Maybe not all, but they will get support if they start doing the right things. So how can we have a press officer that the only time we hear from the press officer is when a coach is brought before the media? So we don't know, like, is he the press officer for the Jamaica Football Federation or the press officer assigned to the national team and for that purpose and that purpose only?
Look, I mean, we don't have anything that provides us a clarity about the role and responsibility of the person who's designated accordingly. So it's hard to discern that. I would assume that there's all the people in their various capacities have clearly delineated responsibility of what their roles are, and it should be executed accordingly. But management, I go back to, let's take it all back, management, which is, I am not sure those people you're talking about understand what it means to run a very well-constructed national football program. They've been doing it for a long time. They've been doing it under different administration. They've been doing it a certain way. And I don't think they feel like they have. And when I heard Mr. Speed, I'm going to call him out the other day, I get a sense from him, he's saying, we run this, I can't tell what to do. That's the way I get it from what he was saying. I heard him on a couple of programs. And so if that's the attitude that you have, if you don't feel you have any obligation, any responsibility to anyone except yourself, and you're going to manage the program the way you so choose, inclusive of how you engage with the public, or how you engage, how your communications director, or press officer, you call him, communicate information out to whatever parties that may entail they need to communicate it to. And that's part of the problem, management. I've always said this, which is, I use the word incompetent a lot. I don't use it a lot, actually, but in their case, I do, because there's so much evidence to suggest that they did not execute their responsibility as well. The evidence is, if they took someone to court, because you said JFF is incompetent, you're not saying a person is, but even if they did take it to court, management, and they open themselves up to scrutiny, because we go to court, you gotta have evidence to substantiate what you're saying. There is so much evidence to suggest that they don't operate as they should. It's alarming, frankly.
Yeah, they're saying that you need to fix up your audio, Cranky. I think sometimes you're cracking up. I don't know. I think it's the internet. All right. So and that is
let me put I'm using Wi-Fi on my. Using Bluetooth on my.
Yeah. So let me say and what you said. Welcome to all the persons who are just joining. Chemo Unknown, the Akaburu, I think that is Coach Minzy. Rob Smith, bless up. All right, Alex. You calling Coach Minzy name, man? All right. I like this comment, right? It's the Akubra, hope I got that pronunciation right. He says, it speaks to leadership management. Do you think any member of the past Burrell regime could do an interview without captain, a suspect, he's saying, without captain's approval? The JFF is a dog with each leg going in different direction. No unison. All right? And while I think that people, once they understand your position, they understand their function, they must be given latitude to speak, right? So I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that you cannot speak unless the authority figure over you or the leader over you say speak. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. What I will say is that if I'm going to speak concerning an area in my department and it is confined to that, then that is okay. The issue I have though is that we have, like I said, we have a press officer that when good things happen, you don't hear anything. When bad things happen, you don't hear anything. There is no, you work in a company, right, Cranky? And if there is, let's say you sell a particular product, and that product, whether it is a consumable product in terms of something to eat, or it is a service, it's a product. You provide a service, you provide a product. All right. And there's a bad batch that goes out. They have what they call damage control. And that damage control is to do a lot of press releases, come out and speak about it. It's almost like you begin to fix it before it blows up. I don't see that in the federation. So what happens is that I said it, I think, recently, and I think I heard this. I don't remember who I heard it from, but somebody said in our schooling system, we are taught in school in Jamaica in English language to fill in and comprehension, to fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. And so you learn that in school. So when information is not provided to you, you fill in the blanks. And so the notion that we don't have to say anything to the people is what is causing the problems, because the people are filling in the blanks, and sometimes they get the information from persons who are connected to the federation who don't have all of it. So they give you portions of it, or they give you portions for whatever reason. And that creates the problem, because there is no proper management of information.
So in most companies, what you disseminate or communicate to the public is controlled. It's really controlled. And you may have a compliance department that will have standard information they communicate out. Or if you want to communicate something out to the general public, you have to go through some kind of protocol and channels to be able to do so. Now, some people may be designated to go out and speak to the public because that's what they do, that's the capacity they operate in. I'm not sure you have that protocol in the JFF where they have designated parties who speak to the public, and what you communicate is managed. And also what happens when it's managed is that people in the JFF have people in the media who they have relationships with, and they will under the table give them information if they want to provide their narrative out to the general public, or they want to say, you know what, I'm just going to give you news that you can expose, whatever it is, which undermines the JFF as an organization also.
Yeah, but here's the issue I have with that, Cranky. Say, all right, I don't know if you know this, though it is not official yet. By the time January comes around, enough suspicion and issues and all the stuff, but the Adidas deal has gotten some bad press about the whole Reggae Boys logo. Do you know that there has not been any official statement from the federation concerning the ownership of the trademark up to this point?
So, man, I would say this though. I would say this. There are two things there. One is, if you don't have a good explanation, maybe you stay silent and it goes away. Or if you realize over time that your ability to communicate in a public domain, public environment, is not what it should be, and all you do is create more difficult situation for yourself, you may not want to go out and engage and try to explain. Because some things you can't explain away in a management. I heard the president say, and I'm going to paraphrase in a sense, but that the coach want to see other players, right?
Yeah.
That's what his explanation was. Now, the general public who follow Jamaican football and zealously they into it, realized that was total nonsense. I'm going to use my own term, nonsense. Because we had a bunch of players there who were regulars who we didn't say, well, we're going to put them on the sideline. Most of the regulars that call who want to get called. So why that player who was your captain and one of your best players, that didn't make any sense. And at the same time, the player came on and criticized you. So is that way you communicate to the public that, you know what, I didn't call him because we look at other people, and the coach want to see other people. The coach just joined. And then the coach subsequently called the player, which undermined what you have said. But you haven't realized that you have been undermined. You haven't realized what you just said. You haven't realized the perception you have created, which just aggregates over time to say, do you know what you're doing?
Put a spin on it, Cranky. I'm saying that. Listen, one thing I'll say that the former president of the United States had is that he could put a spin on anything. So say the coach comes and the coach reinstates the player. You come out and say, listen, now people will begin to believe that as the technical committee, when it comes on to the selection, this is the kind of autonomy the coach. So you put a spin. That's what I'm saying. That is what.
No. My man. You first said the coach want to see other players. So you can't even say the coach have autonomy. You said they want to see other players. You contradict yourself. You should have probably been silent and say, you know what? The player wasn't called. It's something we're working out internally. And you leave it there and you can make all the assumptions you want to make. When the coach comes, the coach called the player and say, you know what? There were some internal challenges. We all know what transpired. We don't need to tell us explicitly what it was. We know what transpired. We know why you did what you did, or we can assume that what you did. And what you said haven't contravened that because it actually worked out the same way. So when the coach comes in, he'll make the ultimate decision.
Yeah.
Stop taking us for fools because we're not idiots.
Yeah. So that's what I'd say. I'd say to Mr. Speed, one, listen, you cannot speak on certain matters. All right? And the posture on the media is how can I engage the people I'm dialoguing with? Is not to affirm and assert and exert who is in charge. It is how am I coming on to engage this part of the fan base? Because this is what this is. This is a part of your fan base, and what you don't want to do is to turn off this part of your fan base. That don't make any sense, right? So that's a couple of people that are saying those two. I think I want someone from the JFF to come on and tell us at some point what is the role of the press officer, because since I've seen or heard about this role, very few things I've seen from him. I don't understand what is his role. So if you're watching and you have heard or seen anything that indicates what's the role of the press officer for I don't know, is he the press officer one for the Jamaica Football Federation, or is his assignment directly to the national team? Because I have not seen enough from the person who is in charge, the press person. And here's the other thing. There is nothing that is in the federation that is not being leaked. So the press officer is not speaking on the matters, and all the matters are being ventilated in the public space.
Yeah, I mean, you called it correctly. I'm not sure how that changed. They need to convene internally, work out protocol, and operate within the confines of their protocol. Right now, it's like anybody can go speak. Some people embrace the public domain and want to speak about everything, and some people don't want any conversation in the public domain. So neither approach probably is the right approach.
Yeah. So that's it. So that's the press officer, and that is the head of the technical committee. Alex saying well, Alex, I'd love to know if he did, and why would he? What benefit is it to the press officer to leak the information, especially positive information, instead of doing an interview and speaking about it and controlling the narrative? Respect Coach Boris Johnson and Tuffy Rudy, John in the chat. Right, Cranky? Like, if your company has something good that is happening, isn't it to the company's benefit to use it as leverage to even promote the company more? Why would you try to, like, leak it or have it leak and then just let it go out. By the time you get there, it's already, even if you have to create your own channel.
Especially when you don't have the best reputation and you're trying to manage public perception, you would try to want to deliver as much good as possible to try to change the narrative over time, because you won't do it in one day. I don't know how the JFF thinks. I can't think for the JFF. I don't know how they think and how they operate.
All right.
All you hear is bad news, and all you see are things which are not what they should be.
No. So I have looked at team managers, right? Now, in football, our concept of team manager is different from like how club football operates. So like Arteta is a team manager. He's
the question is, what are you managing? Are you managing
no, this is where
are you managing the gears and the activities and the logistics, or are you managing the players and how they operate?
This is very important. No, this is a very important discussion. All right. So Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola is a manager.
All right.
Klopp is a manager. So they are coaches, but they manage. The management is overseeing the game days, and a lot of times they are not actually involved in the day-to-day coaching. Like Pep is not out on the field teaching players how to control and pass and how to, you understand me, do the drills. He's not out there doing that. He manages that and sees that that is done. All right? So we have a coach, and that means the coach is responsible for all the setting up. They have their assistant. So the team manager has no responsibility in our construct in terms of the preparation of the team, in terms of technical, tactical, physical, mental. None. That's not his job. Therefore, the suggestion is that he must be in charge of what you just said, the logistics.
I think it depends, though. I think I bet Arteta has his hands in everything, as on the field, giving instruction about system of play and style of play. I don't think every manager operates the same way. Pep may be more hands off because you used to have Arteta to do that for him. I bet Arteta does that in his domain.
Hello?
Yeah, man. Yes. Pineapple Channel. Yo, all right. We're gonna have you come on.
Yeah, bless up.
Yeah, man. Give us 5 seconds. Yes, Curtis Tilt has been added to the roster.
Why?
So yeah.
Why? Why?
I figured that maybe because Latibodier is out. I don't know. Yeah. Because Latibodier is
Tilt only played once before, right?
Yeah. And he had a bad game and he was discarded. What if
he had an awful experience, but then the team didn't play well at general. So
Piney, I think Piney made a comment in the comment section, Cranky. So I think he's called because he wants to, I think, question you on something you said earlier. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mornings, man.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, man. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Stan.
Good afternoon, bless her.
Yes, boss. Yeah, man, don't be afraid of the gunner. It's another gunner, and you are the manager, so you come here to talk to the manager. Big up yourself, people in the comment. Have a great Sunday evening, Pina coming with respect and manners and first. Until we read the comment or somebody says something and we have to drape them up. Respectfully. Now, Mannings, man.
Yes, sir.
Stan said a few things that I disagree with, and I think Stan is smarter than that. But first thing, let me tell him, I think it's nobody from the southern side of North Street won the Manning Cup last year. He never understand what me say it.
Okay.
So explain what you mean.
Him understand, man.
No, I'm not understand.
Okay. Go on. Yeah.
But we're not going to go into that now.
Let me just say this.
Move on.
Stand know what I mean, man. Who win the Manning Cup last year, man? The Manning Cup last year, Mannings, man. Your name is Manning, you're supposed to know.
Kingston College.
Who? Let me say is nobody from the southern side of North Street. You're going southeast to on North Street to go to Kingston College. That's what I mean.
No, I understand what you said when you said
just understand it, no, man. But you me is a KC hater. Me say nobody's. That's what it means. That's what I mean. So you know I put myself out there like that. Sometimes you know if you put me on the spot like that, I make me say the things them when me not to say. Big up to all of the KC people them. Is one reason why I'm going to know it all the while, but me still not going to know I win.
But wait, before you go any further, I have a question. Before you go any further, ask a question. How can you be a hater of KC when you like the Gunners and we are emblem of winning and we are the epitome of winning? I'm confused. You don't like winning?
I would not.
You don't like winning?
It's a personal thing with me and an individual from KC.
Okay.
Family matters is concerned, where I will not discuss here. KC is an all-boys school, and they tend to go to the all the other girls' school and have the girls them, and when them get pregnant and them think them deadbeat them. That's what happened with my daughter. That's why I burn them out.
Oh, okay.
But we don't want to get into the personal. That is personal, family thing. So remember not some cases.
Why you have to talk about that on the chat? And then say they want to talk about it.
Because Tana question me.
But you don't have to say just say I have no comment.
You should be glad you're in the family. You're in the family. You've been adopted.
It's all right. It keep the show going on. Whole heap of people in the comment have something to say about what me just say. And it's some negative and some positive. So here what happened. A man tell me the other day, say, big up yourself, Ryan LFC. You know me, Ryan make me a big horse over. You know, man.
Over Ryan?
Yeah, man, me hear me to know. Him say me bring value to the show because I am controversial. Sometimes I agree, you know. It's just like when me go on United States in 1992. I am a basketball fan from 1973. But Patrick Ewing, when I go to New York, every Jamaican and Caribbean people in New York was Patrick Ewing and New York Knicks fan. So I become an Orlando Magic's fan first. And I like what Shaquille O'Neal was doing. So I told them, and I like to be a villain. So people have to understand. So sometimes when me agree with you know, everybody agree upon the same thing. We go up on the other side just to create the content, you know. So just get that with me. I like the controversy sometimes. Now, Stan. You say something. We'll get back to the show now and come after that. We have another day for that. Stan understand as a man where smart, very smart man, I believe. Now Stan said, like, you have to understand first things. If the JFF, which I think vloggers and the media on a whole spend too many times on the JFF. 365 days that you're talking about JFF, even when they are not in business or doing anything, we still have time to talk about them. And not talking about the JPL and the other leagues in Jamaica where we should be beating those people for not producing quality player for our league, the national team to pick from. That is the problem. And now, if Mr. Ricketts and these people found the media to be overtly aggressive and critical of them, they can shut you all out. They can delete the press conferences, and what you're going to do? Sue them? That's what you're going to have to do. Get lawyers and sue them to open up at the press room. We see the president of the United States do that, you know. See him like Maninzwan was saying, you know, the people them was saying, and some other people was too aggressive with them. Them kick out everybody out of the press room. Even before this, Mr. Nixon did lock down the press room and said, nobody not going to come in here. And if this is a national organization, they can do that if people are too aggressive. And some people are very aggressive and being borderline disrespectful to the federation. Some of them, and I will not talk about who or what, because I'm following all these channels and I see Maninzman is not one of them, you know, because when I tell me, tell Maninzman say him was in pro federation. Then I say all the while, me that tell him say look like him get hired from up there. Now people asking me if JFF hire me. And the people who are asking me that, I could ask them if Mr. Blake and Sidela Marley is paying them because they are anti-Ricketts and they are talking and those people be asked. So who paying who? I don't think the federation can pay me. I mean work past Sunday too, so how me them now work past Sunday, so them all pay me. Now, that is one of the things we stand have to understand. They don't have to give you all any information. They don't have to give us any information if they are being criticized too much and they don't like it.
Let me ask you something. Hold on. I hear your opinion. All right.
Mhm.
Even if I am hostile towards the JFF, so let's use that. Let's use your example. Do you think by them not giving me any information and not speaking to me, it is going to cause me not to be hostile?
You broke up in the last half. What did you?
All right. So, using your example. All right. Caller reconnecting. But Cranky, you hearing me now?
So man, they're just saying,
Yeah, man.
keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
All right. Cranky was going to say something, and then go ahead, Cranky, and then I'll.
Now I'm saying they're just saying, man, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So there is no person in the world that I know of. No, there's no. But it's contrary to your point that you're saying, because you're saying they should cut you off because you're critical. What they have actually done, is they have co-opted the traditional media. The traditional media want access. The traditional media is very complimentary a lot of times. They may appear to criticize, but the criticism is soft. They don't go in hard. And at the end of the day, they don't get some of the information or provide some of the information they need to a traditional media or ask the right question. Now, here's a new media coming who is very intrusive, who doesn't have those obligations, who doesn't have those affiliations, and will say, you know what? We're going to go in based on what we see, which may appears to be hard. And they could do a better job of how they go in and how they engage. But you can't. But the problem. Here's the problem, caller. Here's the problem. If the JFF was doing well and operating well, they may get some criticism, but they got more praise than criticism. They have been atrocious, and because they've been so poor, that's why they're always criticized. And we get information from a variety of sources about how poor they are, especially the players in the studio.
Hey, caller, the background sound is.
Yeah, you probably need to mute, caller. You need to mute.
Yeah, you have to mute if you're not, whatever you're doing. Yeah, the background sound is terrible.
No, man, I was just getting out my car to sit in a chair in the back of my yard. I'm sitting down comfortably now.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. Right. So you hear what Cranky was saying, though. Let me add to that, right? If I'm being hostile to you and you shun me, it's not going to stop me from being hostile to you. All right?
But, of course, but the information you will be given will not be the one that you want. So you need good information. So I am not saying to you.
Follow me, caller, but what I'm saying that the information that they're refusing to give anyone is still getting out. And when it gets out, it even the most beneficial information. For example, I'll use the Adidas deal. There was a little thing that they wrote up, and I'm saying that they could have used that. They could have used that as a means of helping to lift the state of the federation in the eyes of the people. But that got out way before they said anything, and everybody was out there talking about it. Right? And that is the issue I'm having. They're not pivoting themselves. They're not getting information or using the information they have, the things that are happening, to help to get the people to better appreciate them. But someone just said, I think it is, they're asking a question. I don't listen, and I'm here to learn. All right, Cranky. So he's asking if Earl Bailey and Carla, is Earl Bailey the press officer or the liaison officer? What my thing is that he's a press officer. So I don't know what is the difference in terms of the functions of those two.
No. Oh, management. I don't know about that part of it, but I'm just gonna speak from general. Stan, another thing, Stan. Like I put in there before, you is a man who travel the world and travel places like me, and you're a sports fanatic, I think, like me and management.
Because you moved from Poros to Philadelphia, you say you travel the world.
Me go England, me go Mexico, me go Trinidad, me go Bahamas.
All
The
right.
man just be facetious, scholar.
No, let me tell you.
He just teasing you. He's just teasing you. He's not challenging your worldliness. He's just teasing you. He's not teasing you.
I haven't done the whole way yet, but I'm on my way.
All
No,
right, cool. Go
management,
ahead.
what I was saying, the media, if you notice, I named 3 top heads of association or federation. Gary Bettman from the National Hockey League, Mr. Silva from the NBA, and then Mr. Roger Goodell from the NFL. You notice, say, as serious as the situations might be, you never see the head of these people come out and give press conference. Mr. Ricketts is just like them. They don't like to talk to the media. So what they do, they have their minnows who they give information to put out there, because I don't know if it's a fear thing or why
But
they
no,
don't
but there's
want to
no.
talk to them.
Tell me, what are the bad perceptions about the NBA? Like, what are some of the major, like, you don't hear people coming up with some of the things that have been said about the JFF, so they don't need to do
Let
that.
me tell you something, but you have individuals like Mr. Robert Sarver of the Phoenix Suns, who is now about to lose that team because his partners are telling him you've got to go because
But
of
that is
workplace
the
and things
point,
like
though. Isn't that the point? The point is the NBA is so structured that a billionaire owner could lose his team for what he did for this workplace thing, right? What we are
Yes.
saying is that in that kind of a system, because it's so transparent, because swift action is taken, the people don't need to be coming up with press conferences to talk about stuff. With what
No,
I am
man.
saying is that with the federation and all the issues that they have, it would serve them well that the press officer come and speak on these things.
So, my
That's
next
what I'm
man,
saying.
let me
That's
just,
what
can I say a
agree
couple
with
of
that,
things?
but I'm saying that's why I said you can't. If you demand for Mr. Ricketts to come out there, Mr. Ricketts might not come out there, but he's supposed to have people. Well, Mr. Speed now. I think that's what Mr. Speed is.
But he's not the
person
press
who-
officer. He you know,
But maybe-
no, but he cannot.
Maybe he want to do it.
But that
Go ahead,
the
sorry.
company can't operate like that. You think that
Can
the
I say
cashier
a couple of things?
Go ahead, Cranky.
There are a couple of things. One is, I wouldn't do a true analogy between a league and a national football program, right? May seem similar, but they're not exactly similar. Having said that, Gary Bettman, Silver, Goodell, all those individuals do speak on matters which they believe they need to communicate to the general public. The Phoenix Suns situation, Silver first came out and talked about this and provide guidance about why the punishment was a year versus a lifetime, like you see happen with the LA Clippers, for example. And he's not forced to sell the team. But they do come on and speak on certain matters. If they talk about if they have agreement with the players, they speak on significant matters and important matters.
Caller, they're asking you, other persons want to call in, you hear? So
Yeah, man. No, put me on the link. Because here I watch the football quietly. I'm on the show.
He wants to stream. He wants to join it.
All right.
Let me join the other gunners on the screen.
Let's crack. Go ahead, Cranky.
No, the point I'm trying to make is that there are points in time when heads of any organization, inclusive of professional sports teams and leagues, communicate with the public. A lot of times, the press officer is making an introduction to that communication versus the person who does all the communication, right? The person who runs the league actually talks a lot. For most national programs, though, the manager or the / coach does most of the media-oriented type activities. Think about England. Most of you see Southgate. You don't see the head of the national program. You know,
because
Southgate is the main person.
He is the manager.
Yeah, but they speak in a lot of different forums, right? La Liga president is always talking about something. The head of national program sometimes speak, but it's not as much of the national media as the manager or the coach does. They're the representative. They're charged with communicating a lot of things. Because most times people want to know about the team, or they don't want to know about the happenings behind the scene a lot of times.
Yeah.
No, go back to that previous comment. Go ahead, previous comment.
This one?
Manning's you and Cranky Center. No, Rafford. It's not because we won. It's how we won. It's how we won. Okay.
Bridget, what is God Didel pronunciation that let you move on?
Was it the I think brain drain takes every single situation, assess it, and then figure out how I can just put the knife and turn it.
What? Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. Welcome to
me. I said no.
Welcome to He's Sure Sports.
Listen, me I go follow Rich Poor and say me come to broke up the folly ground. Just because I win a game today, when I come go on like say everything is done, you know.
No, we're not only one. We're not only one.
Minzy.
I told you that we're sitting at the top of the table.
Both money in one return with a bang. Bang.
I know it. Oh, you figured out that I was calling you out because last night you're not sure if you go around with things.
Yeah.
Oh, you figured out. Oh, you're the first one.
Both money is returned with a bang. Bang.
So, Minzy, I have a question for you, Minzy.
Mash up the show.
No, but Minzy, here's a point, which is I'm surprised you're not giving us more kudos because this same Brentford team gave you. What was the score with you on Brentford? What was the score in your game with Brentford?
It be the sting, man. And that's why we take it out pound, man. And 4 we get from the bees, you know. We can take it out pound.
So we take revenge for you. We take revenge for you. You beat us up and we took it out on them.
I 4 them give it still. On the job 3.
Yeah, we didn't want to lie.
Big up, man.
Well, no, you gave us 3, so we gave them back 3. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. So, boy, this JFF thing, Virgin, and this football thing, it becoming very toxic.
Yeah.
Me and Cranky have a conversation today. You know, I was planning to say this on my show tonight, but I'm never sure if not sure I'm going to go on because I'm on the road. See? So I can't say it, that's all. I get a call, see, from an individual. And the person say, the person is going to be remaining nameless. But somebody from the inside called me and I said, boy, the thing where they might talk about the vloggers get froze and nothing no go so, it was just a it was a face-to-face interview and our press conference, so there was no need to have, you know, to bar people because nobody was at the door checking persons to see who they are. Anybody was free to come in. And they said that they dropped the ball for not having it on Zoom as well as having a stream for it, a live stream. So them said them dropped the ball for that. So I mean that's something with them said they have to work on going forward. You understand? But they said them never have no blackout for the yeah.
If that has been so, this is what we are saying, and I think you are saying it on Cranky. If that is the case, because I'm not hearing this for the first time, you know, because I had some other engagement, or else I would have been there, right? But not because I got some press thing, but I would have.
Yeah, man.
Are we by roast and saltfish, man?
No, man. A different place for them, man. I can't roast them.
Sorry. So, and this is what I'm saying, if it is the case where, right, Cranky, it has been said by the vloggers or by people or the fans that they were blocked, and that is not the case, why wouldn't you come out officially and say something if you have any respect for the field? What? Because it would not do you any harm.
Man, you just made it right. Man, hear the word you just used a while ago?
But
if you have any respect for the field.
Yeah, but
the field has been credible. Go ahead, Minzy, go ahead.
But Cranky, sorry to break up Cranky, but in terms of respect what Mannings has said, the people they have no respect for the fans and whoever else, bloggers included. So when you are gonna say if them to do up, then should have come out and do. Them are gonna say why is the need to do something like that? You understand?
But Minzy,
them support, which is something that they are not going to do.
But Minzy, some of the bloggers are causing this. So here's what people don't understand. there's a way to comport yourself and how you operate. And some bloggers have no credibility and have no idea how to comport themselves. So therefore, why would any organization want to engage with them? Now, what is happening is that back to the AFTV went through this in a next man. You know this, right?
Yeah, no.
AFTV went through this with all those people historically. Robbie has got to clean up his act. He's no part of the traditional media or part of the media. When Arsenal came to the US the other day, his people got access to the media room to ask questions, and they felt very good about it. In England now, he and Gary Neville and all of them are in different forums as traditional media. So they've now been brought into the fold because they sort of clean up the act and become more professional. Nobody will engage with people who are very unprofessional because it never ends well. It doesn't go well. YouTubers have to take responsibility, understand their role, understand how they've been now uplifted, and act accordingly. You don't see traditional media out there just acting very inappropriate in a lot of instances. Do you see TVJ or any of those people just acting so inappropriate all the time? You have to know how to act. So I disagree with banning the YouTubers. At the same time, some YouTubers don't know how to act. So why do you want to be affiliated with them? You're only going to bring yourself to a certain level which you don't want to get to. It's going to be confrontation. You want to engage with them.
Cranky. All right, let me ask this.
Cranky, well on the Mannings. Well, before you ask the question, Cranky, I'm sure you're talking, because Mannings get big stint on TV station, CVM TV,
You know what?
Whoa, I didn't know this.
People, hold on. You see the man. What Coach Rinzi, why you do that?
So wait, Mannings man. Don't be humble here. What station were you on? Because let me tell you something, Mannings man. You're the kid from AFTV. What's the young kid from AFTV name?
Nobody do that. Listen, Cranky, the man went on CVM.
Yes.
And the man's studio background look better than the studio background.
You mean Minzy?
Minzy, yes.
Minzy was on CVM?
His phone with that pan. I was on the phone, the man was live.
So what, they were engaging YouTubers? They were trying to engage you guys involved in
they had a discussion and they reached out to us, so we went on.
Oh, that's a good thing. So traditional media is trying to also be affiliated and associated with you guys. It's a good thing.
Yeah, man.
But I hear a lot.
Man, did ask a question.
Yeah, so I was saying to Minzy, all right? Well, I will ask Cranky this because the issue I have, is I think sometimes the dialect, the patois, or poor English gets dealt with like bad criticism. In other words,
no, man, don't confuse patois with bad English. They're not one and the same.
No, all right. The point I want to make is that if somebody comes and start talking what we call bad patois and start carry on, which is really a part of the language that is seen worse. Like if a girl say, "Hey, dirty boy, blah blah blah, hey, dirty girl," and blah blah, all those kind of things. Like if a man say it in English and say, "I can't manage these dirty thinking people," one is more accepted than the other, but both have the same.
No, but man, there is the aggressive. No, but man, there's the nature of how you deliver the message.
Yeah, we get the man.
No, but management, there's how you deliver the message. You can talk patois in management, but it's such a friendly term. People know you're deliberately speaking patois versus you have agreement failure. You're saying she were, for example, which is agreement failure. That's not good English. That sounds terrible versus, you know what? Well, she go on and on. You and I know we're speaking patois even though we can communicate in English, in traditional English. There's nothing wrong with you want to speak your natural dialect if you so choose. That's your prerogative if you so choose.
I don't know this. Brethren and these guys, some of these comments are just off the wall. The man says simply, JFF get a new girl and they will not invite the drunk uncle to the
Now their past is bad English because but then we start pointing out these things.
But on a serious level though, I think if there is, all I will say is that if there is an issue with how the vloggers are media, let me put media, are criticizing them, I think there should be a conversation of engagement. Now, if what they are saying is not true, that's a different issue. Because even if I do it the wrong way, because if you play, I know this because I play football. There are some coaches that cuss you bad word, them tell if you go from here, so come off them team, all kind of things. All right. But at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, here's the thing. Is the coach speaking truth? What even in the midst of the bad criticism, what I'd love to know is that the federation themselves listen to what has been said, and where the information is true and accurate. They still need to make changes, but at the same time, they can have a problem with vloggers. What they are doing is what they say: the bath water and the bath water and the bath is being thrown away.
So, Manningsman, here's the problem, Manningsman. So normally, your criticism should be managed, right? It should be fair and objective in your criticism. The problem is, and here's what Jeff don't realize, Manningsman, they have been so bad, and it's been so consistently bad, Manningsman, that all they get is criticism. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if I'm listening to you talk about me, and all I do is I'm poor at what I do, and it's a constant, and it's every day, every month, every year. As a blogger or a media, I can call out is how bad you are. If it was balanced in terms of you doing some good and some bad, the message would be received differently, because you know what? I will tell you what your strengths are and what you're not good at. But you've been so poor, that's all you hear. You get beaten every day because you've been poor, consistently poor. So what are you doing to change how you operate, Manningsman, to change the narrative?
But that is what I'm saying. This is where we need to change. So we have talked about the press officer. We're trying to figure out because we don't even know the roles of the people. Because the Akabur.
But the press officer role, from what I gather today, by questioning the person that called me, is that the press officer's role is to deal with the media and deal with the media only. There are other things that people think or believe that the press officer should be doing, which includes videoing people, videoing the ballers and doing them things there, getting interviews and so forth.
What you mean dealing with the media? Was because what is dealing with the media? I don't like.
For example, liaison with the media, whether it be new media or traditional media, that is their duty. So, for example, a press release is sent to the media houses so that they'll be able to release this information, so that the public will know what is happening. Right?
So, how do they define media? How do they define media? How do they define the media? How do they define the media?
They define media?
Yeah.
The media is a part. Well, if I think you're asking if the YouTubers are a part of the media.
Well, yeah, indirectly, yes.
They believe so. Yes,
okay.
They believe that the YouTubers are a part of the media.
Okay.
So the person was saying that it is not the press officer's duty to video the ballers, video the training session, take pictures and post. It is the role of the social media person, which is two entities. So I asked why the social media person isn't taken to the games here and overseas so that they can, give information to the fan base. Then so that dig up a can of worm, which the person never wants to expose the worms. You understand?
Yeah, so I asked a question about how they define media, Minzy. And you're saying bloggers and traditional media, but then you say social media. I'm asking the question again, how do they define media? So you got to put parameters around that definition. Go ahead.
Well, that would be included in the social media. The social media part I'm talking about is the person who controls their social media handles, like the Twitter, the Facebook, and the Instagram. That's what I'm referring to.
Right. So you're saying have different people. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, man.
No,
go ahead.
you're saying they have different people with different responsibilities. With the press officer, his or her role is clearly delineated in terms of what they need to be doing. The other people are other
Right.
aspects of media responsibility, including social media, Instagram,
Yes.
all the avenues
Yes.
you can engage with the public.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the role of that individual who handles the little social media, like the Instagram and so forth. They are responsible to video the players, put up interviews and send them out. So what the press officer does in terms of sending out those information, from what I'm gathering, is that it's not a must that he does those things. He probably just doing it out of wanting persons to know.
But
it's not his duty.
But that is what I'm. All right. So here's it. This is where now I am. If the press officer's job is to work with the media, but he doesn't have to give them information, then what kind of work is he doing with the media?
No, Manning. I don't know what. I don't know what sort of work, you know.
No,
is it that the media personnel should just be free to call the press officer and say, what is this happening? You know, so they're not going to tell who there's something, Manning. They might tell a traditional media person. Because they know that when it comes in our space, it's got some hard punch, I go punch. You understand?
All right.
So, I mean...
Hear me again now, Coach. If the companies that Stephen, there's a guy called Stephen Shaw. He is with the National Works Agent, one of those places. And whenever there are things, he comes on and he speaks about it. When roads are blocked, he comes out. And you have a next one that used to work he works with the JPS. Whenever there's a problem, he's the person that the talk shows call and speak to. Here is the problem I'm having. That's a press officer's job. That if there is a new player, promotion, a new product, an election coming up, the press officer, as far as I'm concerned, is supposed to be called and he should give an interview. Now, he can be selective in terms of who he does that interview with.
Agreed.
What I have observed is that the only information or the only time I hear from the press officer is when the press officer is at the press conference with the coach before or after a game. All right? No.
And Manning, I can disagree with you on that.
All right.
Because I am on a list of persons that get press releases, which comes directly from the press officer.
All right.
And so, all the other media personnel get those stuff.
All right. And he gives press releases. Those,
yes.
They are few and
so
far.
And there are few, yes, you're right. There are few that he distributes to the media houses for the media houses to send it out and sensitize the public.
Wonderful. All right. So he sends out these press releases. No, the issue I have with a press release. The press release, for example, there was an Adidas press release. It has not been officially launched, but that was released. But the question that was being asked is about the trademark. That is connected to the Adidas deal. However, the press officer has not said anything about that or turned up to answer any questions or to even say to the people, it is not anything to worry about. We have it figured out. We work nothing. All right. Paul Hall is no longer the coach. The press officer and no one has come out to speak about that. Though he has released, Paul Hall has released something. I am saying that these are the stuff that
but then again, Manning, and that's the thing with the JFF and whoever work in these capacities, they don't believe that it is necessary for the fans to get certain information. And that's the problem we're having with them.
But we are getting the information.
Certain information. No, man, me I talk not from
official.
them in terms of through a press release.
Yeah.
Because you're right, Paul Hall was released. There should have been a press release. And he made a statement. They should have countered that statement.
Nothing. There
and
you
nothing
go.
like that happened. You understand?
Not even
what they want.
That's not true though. That's not true though.
Listen, not even we really want to say a big thank you to Coach Paul Hall. It's it didn't work out. We're wishing him all the best moving forward, and we are seeking to resolve.
No, man. There was
They did that to Whitmore. They did that to Whitmore.
But Menzies and Manningsman.
After this
there was an interview.
There might be one.
Menzies, you hear me?
Go ahead, Cracky.
Yes, Cracky.
There was an interview conducted by Sportsmax with the gentleman who's responsible for finance for the JFF.
Dennis Chung.
Yeah, that was him. And they were talking about the letter that Paul out, and the discussion was more centered around the compensation that he indicated he did not receive. And they did walk through that interview a number of different things that they talked about. That wasn't about Paul Hall and I mean fire per se, but about the whole compensatory element. So there was news coming out. It may not be holistic in terms of talking about all aspects of his time as a coach and what, but there were different parts of different conversations being held with different people in the JFF that talked about Paul Hall and his role, whether it's Speed talking about it, whether it's Chung talking about it. Different people were talking about different things about Paul Hall. So we wouldn't say nothing was communicated. It just wasn't organized communication. It wasn't aggregated.
Formal.
No, organized. If it's formally they're talking about it, it wasn't organized.
But Cranky, even if and this is where I'm saying that the federation needs to have structure. Should Dennis Chung be the one speaking to that?
Well, no, they were about finance, and he said he was responsible for finance, the financial
aspect. Part. Yeah,
but that was his domain, so he should speak about it.
Right.
The problem is management. They should have called a press conference, have all the expert, different discipline that talks about this. The president should have talked about it, and he can call up a finance person,
the technical director, and the finance person.
Yes, they all should be part of that
talk
discussion.
To the people.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about, Coach Menzies. Because I think
man, those press conferences, man.
Yeah, if you do those kind of things, it's not going to change everybody's perception, but at least it would give the appearance that
there's a pathway to communication.
There you go.
And information, even if the people don't believe, at least they can say it's written in the digital library that, hey, we had this and persons asked their question and we cleared up whatever misconception. So you're right, man, these things are things that are supposed to be happening. And until them start do them things that them are under pressure left, right, and center because some ABCs that are not being done. And it tells me that they don't regard the people or the fans. But yet still we are important. The 12th man is important, but they don't regard us as being important. And that's a big, big, big thing.
Well, I think what they're saying is, and I heard Speed say this, I want to paraphrase what he's saying. They have an electoral process. They were elected to run the program. A them run it, so there's a pattern. A them run it, a feed them thing, and nobody can tell them what to do. There's some vlogger we say sometimes. So, but they then want us to support. But then they want us to support the program. Right?
So, you want support, but yeah, a dictatorship. No, I'm not saying it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not saying it.
Yeah. I think they are missing opportunities to spin things. I noticed that in press conferences that when Arsenal has won, and we have been a part of them, Coach Menzies, they select who they take questions from. So even if you can still have control at a press conference. Because you can say you're going to take the question from coach and then you skip over that person and go down there. You understand me?
Yeah.
So you can determine who you feel questions from.
Well, what happens is man. What happens is people put their hands up to show that they want to have a question, and then the person select. You can't just say, "Well, I'm going to skip Manningsman come to like him question." That never works. The press, but Manningsman, press also collaborating with Manningsman.
The former president used to skip people. And say, I'm not taking any question.
but evening face to face press conference, the person who is moderating can decide if they choose you or who.
Yes,
They
yes.
still have that right. They still have that right. But
But I don't
Manning,
think you can
the
habitually.
ball is
Right.
still in our court, still in our Manning. Because remember, the president had opened a door to have dialogue with the YouTubers. So I suggest that should be back on stream, Manning. So we
Yeah.
can go talk to him.
So
You
Manix man,
understand?
Manix
Have
man.
conversation.
I hear somebody in your comment section saying that no, I can't talk patois. I don't I don't understand that logic, you know. Here's what people should tell me. Tell me if when I speak, when I don't talk patois, am I sounding fake? That's very important. If I'm sounding fake, that means I'm not genuine about how I communicate. I speak patois when it's warranted, which is all the time in my house actually. I should say all the time. My kids, my niece and nephew don't talk that much anymore.
What I'll also advise all the vloggers, including myself, is this. Listen, when people want to spread a particular narrative, they try to get the most vulnerable people to sell it to propagate it. So I would say to vloggers, be careful that you're not the one. When people have an agenda, they use your platform to spread that agenda. Right?
Where's the Manning? Not my. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
You know that I feel like some things because I hear like brain drain saying some stuff as well, but I don't know where it's coming from, like some panty business, and I don't know where that's
don't bring those things to this forum. We're not into those conversations.
I don't know, and some girl.
No, we're not bringing those.
You know what?
This is not where we have those discussions.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm trying. Okay.
And the cursing, don't.
Yeah, I don't know where none of those things.
You have to ignore certain comments. You are the moderator. No. Manix man, you're taking the comments. You're the moderator. So you figure out which comments to take and which ones to not engage with. Or which ones to ignore.
All right.
Anyways, big up on yourself. May I jump off and go on?
And Coach Minzy, somebody here said something. We put this up, you know. Them say if you're careful where you're going with it, you know. They don't really like how you're moving. You know. We'll find it.
You get that fat of Manix man.
Them said the super Sunday business, no show business. It can't work, brother. I think who said it? Somebody said it earlier in the comment section. All right.
Come on, may I have show, man. We probably just have a late show.
You're going to have a show or a show, man, on the show. Which one?
Show.
Oh, I thought you said you're going to have a show, man.
No, show. Show.
You know, we add words to words, Manix man. Right?
Yeah.
Break that.
All right, Coach Minzy, bless up. Careful, Pine Action said the Benz make too much noise. You need to go service.
I say it's Minzy on this program, which is I don't think you're one of the YouTubers they want to ban. Let me just put that out there. I don't think you're in that list. You're not in the ban list. You're not one of the YouTubers I think they want to ban.
But if people call me double agent, I don't know who call me double agent.
Why do they want to ban you? Because you're a double agent.
All right, Coach Minzy, be safe. Yeah, man. Yeah, so Kyle says, report the JFF to the Press Association of Jamaica for violating freedom of speech, specifically threatening accredited vloggers with lawsuit to muzzle them. All right. So I think what the person was saying, which came the way they did with the mismanagement, it came across as a threat. But I think what they were saying is that be very careful about how you communicate, because some things, if you're gonna accuse someone of something, some people say the JFF is corrupt and these people are corrupt. You can't say that. You have no evidence that they're corrupt. You can say it appears to be. Allegedly, you can use terms to mitigate that. But you can't say management corrupt and you have no evidence of management corrupt. How are you gonna make that statement emphatically without any corroborative evidence? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, Richard McGrath also makes a very good point, Cranky. He says the problem is the new media is a big, wide open land. Yeah. And anybody can get up tomorrow morning and say they have a YouTube channel. Who governs these quote-unquote journalists? Yeah.
Look, Manix man, the world is becoming a much different place, Manix man. Traditions are being broken down. And yes, sometimes it's very difficult to get up to speed and put structure and controls around some of these things. So for now, it's like the Wild West. Until you figure out a way to bring it into forward.
Yeah.
You have to live with it for the moment.
Yeah. But real Al baller, let me tell you this, all right? You guys have to believe it. I understand this. It don't take a degree in anything too, because I don't think the issue they have is whether you use the right grammar.
What you communicate, management, is what you communicate and how you communicate it.
Yeah, it's not the grammar,
grammar.
I don't think it's a matter of the grammar.
It's not a grammar. It's not a grammar thing. It's not a grammar
it's not a grammar issue or having the right phrases and all of that. No, it's not that. It is can you substantiate the claims that you're making, one, and the tone in which you're saying it. Is it creating hostility? All right. I think that is more the issue, because I don't think you need a degree, certainly, to have a platform where you can speak on issues that are a genuine concern, because you can do that, like I said, in raw patois, and there's no issue. In fact, I will say this: the videos that I do, where we do it in a way where majority of it is in proper English, especially with the coaches from overseas, those videos are not viewed as much as the videos that you get all, hey, me I tell you about them money. Like
management. Why is Kim Kardashian so popular? People like the mix up. Why is Kim Kardashian so popular? What skill does she have?
Yeah.
People like the mix up thing, mix up sell. So it's not shocking. It's not shocking.
Yeah. Buster Bassi say, no, Cranky, you sound like an organic Jamaican. I don't know, so these people crazy. Neo, hey, how you doing? Neo, sovereign laws and insight. It appears the JFF wants to slap lipstick on the pig, and I was all forget the mismanagement, conflict of interest, and poor performance that has caused us to fall for 20 years. Fail for 20 years. Yeah, and I mean, and they must understand. Listen, and here's where I think, I remember when I had the president, on, and when he came on, a lot of people did not, because he was so humble, willing to listen, admit that they were wrong, admit that they needed to do better. People walked away after that interview with somewhat of a changed perception of him. What happened is that since that interview, I think a lot of persons have not seen enough action changes to suggest that his posture in the interview had an impact on the journey that he was on.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things, management. They're always in life management, there's always benchmark and analogies that can draw from things that happen. They can use to inform you and help you as you go along in your journey in life, right? So AFTV and the JFF and Arsenal are good examples, management. When Arsenal wasn't doing well, so Robbie started the channel in 2012, right? And Arsenal haven't done well since then. There was confrontational engagement between some fans and AFTV and Arsenal. They have to change their name from Arsenal TV. And it was toxic because we weren't doing well, management. And they say that the AFTV promoted this and sponsored this, but that wasn't true. What it was is what they're calling out the fallacy of how we were operating and how poor we were, because that's how they talk about. Now we're doing well. You watch how they communicate. They are happy and they're promoting the team and they say the team is doing well and they're very positive because you can only give back what you're given. If you're poor in your performance, if you're not doing well, if you're not matching business well, people are going to call what they see. The JFF is in the same position. So they say, management, we should start a new slate because it's a new beginning. But you haven't done anything to warrant the views being changed. Hiring a coach doesn't change what has transpired in the past. We can't give you the benefit of the doubt yet. Yeah. Start putting things in place. Start functioning like a well-run oil machine, and you get the kudos and the larger comments that come with that. But for right now, you can't get that positivity. You can't get that view because you haven't done anything to warrant that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is true because at the end of the day, like if, and I said it before, I use this example regularly. Environment is important. Place is important. In fact, in the existence of creation, in creation, place was actually made before people. And if you follow that, it says there's a precedence on place. So if the coach comes in and his workspace doesn't change to fit his professionalism, it affects the program, the entirety of the program. So therefore, that is why I think, like now that they have installed a new coach, they have a deal coming. What are the individuals themselves doing to change? And I'll say, what new thing is the president doing to change his approach to leadership? The team manager, like I'm going to ask, and that's why I asked a question earlier. I think we have digressed a little bit from it, Cranky. Why isn't the team manager the one in charge of all the logistics, read the players?
You would expect that, right? You would expect that, but I'm not sure that's how we
because
operate.
we understand that a travel agency makes all the flight plans.
Well, and that's why it goes back to people making certain assumptions as to how we operate, right? Money's involved and things go out of whack in Jamaica, as you know. There are assumptions being made about those affiliations and whether people are independent, is it transparent, or are there other things there that are concerning in terms of how things work? So we don't have the level of transparency management to get comfort that the program is running as independent and as transparent as it should, and that things are being done, as they say in Jamaica, on the up and up. We don't have that clarity because wherever we turn management, whether it's the Booking Travel, whether it's the Reggae Boy logo, every year turn management, you run into something which optically doesn't look well, and substantively, if you go under it, may not look well, may not be well. That's the problem we run into.
Yeah, and then it's going to be hard to change the perception of corruption if the perception of conflict of interest continue to exist.
I'm not going to say anyone is corrupt. I be very careful when I use those terms about corruption.
No, I'm not calling them corrupt, but I'm saying the perception of corruption.
The perception,
will remain.
exactly, perception.
It will remain if the perception there's conflict of interest continues to exist. Because one is not separate from the other. One creates conflict of interest, creates the environment for corruption to strive.
It's not only corruption and management, it's how you operate. So here's an example, management. We have been led to learn, and I've heard players say this, even who don't play anymore for the national team. The players fly economy. All the officials fly first class. Now, how can that be right? When the people who need to fly first class or business class need to have their legs, their blood flowing, be as comfortable as possible, so they can produce on the field. How can you, as an official, go first class or business class, and those people are flying economy? It doesn't make sense. You're not the product. So it's not only perceived corruption, it's also how you operate. And it's just very confusing, very concerning. It's not a good look, frankly, in terms of how we operate. And my hope is this management, that is new manager and coach, get a very quick grasp of what he's up against, and figure out how to navigate it and get us to a good place. Because he's not doing this for the money. That we're sure of. We don't have to ask. He's not doing this for the money. It can't be for the money. If what they said was he's getting paid, I think someone mentioned 10 or 20 G, just more than what Paul Hall was getting. It was some small number of money, frankly. It wasn't much more than Paul Hall. And Paul Hall wasn't getting much. Not in today's world about how you pay coaches for national teams. And if he worked in Saudi Arabia, which we know they print money, they literally print it.
It's
Qatar, Saudi Arabia, any one of those countries in North Africa, in the Middle East, if he works there, then you know he's getting paid really, really well.
Yeah. But I love a couple of things that he said while at the press conference about footballing reasons. In other words, the decisions must be governed by footballing reasons. The decisions must be based on footballing reasons. And so I think the president needs to sit down, look at the people around him, and ask. Because the top tier of the JFF, all the people are 50 and over. All right. Now, 50 years ago, right? Let's go back 50 years ago, Cranky. What, 1972?
Somewhere around there.
All
yeah.
Right. So 1972. All right. So they probably in their team, they were in the, you know how football have progressed since that time? And I'm not saying that
management, it's not an age. We gotta be careful about that. It's not an age issue in management, maybe because I'm sensitive to that. It's not an age issue management. It's a competence issue. Experience should enlighten you. You should be keeping up to date on things are progressing. You should be increasing your learnings.
No,
the problem, management. Let me say this to you.
All right, go ahead.
What you should be doing is having succession planning management.
Yeah.
You're bringing people through the ranks. So if you leave a role, you're not indispensable. People can assume your role. Secondly, your process that you have is you should bring in new ideas and new learnings to the table, whether it's new people and or more seasoned people. That's a really management, man. Do you have competent people doing the role? That's the question. So yes, there probably should be an age cutoff because people forced to in India forced to retire at 60. Some countries have mandatory retirement.
Yeah, but Cranky, what I'm saying is that people Google the age of the persons who are in the hierarchy. Go from Danny Beckford to Bruce Gaynor, Mike Cricket, all the names. No, I don't have a problem with having older people. I have a problem when it is composed. The leadership structure is all older person. Even though, Cranky, you are in that age bracket, you have people who are in the younger age bracket to support you in what you're doing. Because many things have changed. So I'm not saying that you have to do it, but you have to engage the people around you. So many things have changed. There are things that I think I have to ask my kids, and they're just like, they're young. But because
there's a difference between so leaders in most roles are not necessarily the most important people, you know. Management. They're bringing support the right skill set to execute any responsibility that you have, whether it's media, whether it's finance, whatever aspects of that function that you're in. You have people who are working with you and for you, which actually should elevate themselves to your position at some point in time. Whether you're forced out or you do so voluntarily or you voted out, whatever that entails, right?
Yeah.
And what we haven't done in the JFF, first of all, the electoral process doesn't work as it is today. So hopefully the people situation will change it. And secondly, I don't see where they're blooding people to bring them through to assume responsibility in the organization.
Like, I think the struggle with the website is because they don't have enough young, fresh minds in the organization. And again, let me say, I am not saying that the entire administration must be 30-year-old, and because you need the experience. You need the experience, and what you have to engage them. There's a part of the population that there's a wealth of knowledge in that you have to tap into, even if you make them into subcommittees to steer some of the things that needs to happen in the football.
Management, it's not an age issue, it's a competence issue. I keep telling people it's 101 time now.
Okay.
If you don't know what you don't know, how you don't know it? People saying the JFF should be given a chance, and I say, I cannot give incompetence a chance. It doesn't work that way. If you don't know what you're doing, you will never learn what you're doing because you don't have the competence to do so. You don't have the skills to do so. You don't have the acumen to do so. That's my frustration with the whole thing. It's not about the age. If I don't know something, I get my staff to figure it out. I hire people with the skills to do it. I'm not there trying to go around in a circle and because they don't know. Yeah. Or they don't realize, look, management, they've gotten so much flack, you think by now they've made significant changes, but they don't have to because you know what? They are employed for life.
Yeah. You know what? Big up Gunner's boss with the super chat saying tomorrow is his birthday. Happy birthday when it comes up. You understand me? You get to celebrate an Arsenal victory. Toughy Rudy, what do you say about this, Cranky? Toughy Rudy says, should we should we all see what happens after January when the Adidas deal is in effect? Hopefully, at that time, JFF will be debt-free. We can judge starting approximately 3 months from then. That is when we play Mexico in the Nation League game, I think, the return leg.
So I heard someone from the JFF mention this. They seem to think that the main problem with the program is lack of funding. And I've said, and I keep saying this, beating over the people over the head with this, the main thing with the program is lack of competence. So funding, yes. If you don't have the funding, you can't. It doesn't allow you to do a lot of things you want to do. But even if they have the funding, they still won't know how to spend the money. They still won't know how to allocate the resources. They don't know how to source funding in the first place. They haven't gone through the process of sourcing funding. They expect the funding to come to them. And so I think part of the whole thing about this management is how they operate. So when they get money in January, I am not optimistic that they'll get better. Player may have more comfort, travel better, travel more directly. Yes.
Do you think one person is enough, though?
Management. The leaked tape that I think Lowell leaked with the president.
That one that about the party shop stuff.
The cringing, you cringe when you heard that communication of senior people engaging players and the nature of the dialogue. You're negotiating a deal, and that's how you negotiate, how you engage. You can get upset in the management, but I'm not your subject. You can't treat me like your subject, right? That gives you some indication. That's a synopsis or some indication of how the JFF operates. It's not pretty.
All right, Eagle Republic, it says Hal Grimson appears to be a real dentist. Step 1, clean teeth, meaning clean sheet for everyone. Step 2, remove bad teeth. That sounds like more than one because it's remove bad players. Step 3, replace teeth, dentures. He's talking about replace bad players. Okay.
But Eagle Republic.
Here's a good question for you, Cranky. You're going to take that comment and take this one. If we had a better system and this coach, would we get better results?
So, management, the first thing you need in any organization is competent people at the top running the program. Because then everything else flows, right? When you can put together a business, you have a business plan. The first thing you look at is executive management. Who's going to run my company? Then you think about finance, marketing, your product, XYZ, right? That's why people are always trying to hire the best people. That's why people want to hire Guardiola or they want to hire Klopp. Been there, know it. Then they get them the product, the players to work with. But they have a structure they're working within management. If I'm Antonio and I got to pay my way to come to Jamaica, when I come and I have accommodation, I got to take multiple flights. Do I want to come back? The system and the structure is not fit for purpose. So why would I be involved in it? Get my name associated with it. Okay. Affect my brand negatively.
So the main problem is not the players. Because
they're part of the problem, they're not the main problem.
All right, because we can leave this conversation believing that if we had a better system with any one of the two coaches or this coach, which is Coach Whitmore, Coach Paul Hall, or this coach, with the players that the pool of players that we had from the last campaign, we could have qualified.
Management. Edu said something which I found very interesting. He said, when they were
sourcing... You don't know people, when we say Edu, we are talking about the great...
Edu is the technical director for Arsenal. He said something was very interesting. He said we look at the character of the player first, and we look at their capability. He said we went to Dortmund to source a player. And all the player could talk about is someone's going to get paid, and when he's going to play. The player didn't want to engage us about, does he like Arsenal? Does he like London? Does he like different things? All you want to talk about is money. And they decided not to pursue the player. Because he was one of those characters in his organization. So the person's character, who they are, how they operate, along with their capabilities as a football player, it's not just one of them, it's an imperative, it's both. And if you have players who are gonna be in your team, who is gonna destroy your team by their behavior, who don't know how to operate and comport themselves, why would you want them to be around the team? So this manager or coach, as you call him, needs to do two things. One is score the word for talent, put a mechanism in place to source talent, and make sure you look at the character and the ability. You have a team that's all operating similarly. You can build a culture, and then you get the results, management.
So where should the coach start? Should he go to the federation and get them to fix the structure and then recruit the players?
The coach can't do that, management.
Recruit the players?
The federation hire him. He might the federation and them hire him. Now the federation is smart enough can say to the coach, look, we know you've worked at a national level and at the club level. Give us some ideas about what will work well. How should we look like? How should we operate? What are some of the things that you're seeing after your first 3 months? After 3 months to make an assessment, they think we need to improve. So let's work with us to try to figure that out.
Yeah, man. All right. Big up, big D Len and Kevin William Jan in the chat. Neo says alleged failure to understand conflict of interest is an excuse. The bylaws address it. That they chose not to follow it is a wrongful act. If the board of directors won't hold them accountable, the media should. All right, because their bylaws do speak about conflict of interest, and even the FIFA bylaws speak to those things, So it's kind of funny that like this is the thing. Who you
go on in an industrialized country. You live in Jamaica. New York, come talk about bylaws and fire laws, what you want to call the laws them. What kind of laws, New York? People do what they want to do. They don't care. They're not being held accountable. So why would they care? They may have bylaws, but the traditional media don't hold them to that accountable management.
But that's what I'm saying is that, all right, who holds the person? Like when the persons are operated, if I'm part of the board and there's a conflict of interest in the service I'm offering, can I then address the other person who is operating in conflict of interest?
No, say it again. I missed that. Say it again.
So if members of the board, they are doing things that presents an outlook of conflict of interest, can they address other persons who serve the board operating in like manner? Which is probably the problem. For example,
you can't be a hypocrite and hold people accountable. It doesn't work.
There you go. In other words, have they lost their moral authority to correct the issues that are around them because they themselves have been engaged in like behavior, which is perceived by those who serve them as a conflict?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so Tuffy Rudy says, Cranky, if we have money, do you think the team and the results will get better with new coach, regardless of how the JFF operates from an operation standpoint? I think he's suggesting that if we got all the money that we needed.
Yeah. So here's a problem, management. You need to reconstitute and revolutionize how we operate as a football program. So money can camouflage problems, management, but it won't be sustainable.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is, we keep talking about the conflict between overseas players and local players. You need to revamp the program of football in Jamaica. I know someone was saying it's the club's problem or the school problem. No, the JFF need to administer and oversee how they can improve the football to produce better players. We have one player who's a local player playing at the highest level. And that's why everyone, when he played bad, want to support him. Because they don't have anything else to go to. That's the one person you can say, you know what, he's made it. There should be more than one. We do so in other sports. Why in this sport we can't do so? Because the program we have today is not fit for purpose, management. So money can help you to do that, but you need competent people also to do it.
There's a guy called Nelson Searcy. He does a book about systems, and he talks about how in Japan how they make cars, right? I think the 8 systems. And he talks about effective run organizations and how they operate. And he says that it doesn't matter who the Japanese put in that factory to make the car. All the cars come out looking the same way because they have a system. All right. So what I'd love to see is what structures, what system, what principles govern, which is probably part of their bylaws. Because I think fundamentally, if there can be proper structure, system, principles, and practices that govern, that are adhered to in the federation, like what Nia says, will happen. If you have that, then you'll be able to attract better players, because players will see an effectively running system. There is no unpredictability in it, right? People know, like when we come, we go to the Pegasus, we fly on Emirates airline, we go to the Pegasus, we train this place, it's one flight, or if you have to go X places, it's 2 flights. In other words, there is a clear system that every player knows. They know that when I play a game, my per diem is sent on the 3 days before the game for every day that I'm going to be in the camp. My salary is sent before I leave. If there's a system that keeps on going, what Nia says will happen in a cranky, we'll be able to attract better players, because that would include recruitment of players. How do we go about it? That's a part of your system, right? It goes the system of how people qualify, the system of getting their documentation, the system of who do we call for what games. If these systems are in place, you attract better players. I agree with what Nia says. You would have a better JPL, and if the JPL is better, then the local players will better matriculate internationally.
I don't agree about the JPL piece about better. Look, the system. The question is, what system are you talking about? There's a football program that have elements to it. There's a structure. There's a governance process. There's policies, procedures, the various processes that form that, right? And if you have that in place, then yes, all the tenants that inform that, they work seamlessly and they're effectively managed, then it will work. So if you're gonna talk about the program, the question is, what are you doing locally? Locally is one thing, which is, how do I talk about Spain, for example? Spain play football. They all play similarly, you know. I remember the Barcelona system in terms of how you keep possession football. And
I think German football is a way to look at it. All of them play highline defense. Every single one of the Bundesliga.
But I'm saying they have a system and a practice. But that's just playing on the field. Off the field, there are different things that you need to do, man.
Yeah.
So who's responsible for that? Who's going to execute that? Who's going to make sure it's put in place? And nowadays, man, you don't have to recreate the wheel now. There are different things being done in different parts of the world, and information is public that you can source to help you figure out how to operate. I don't know if the JFFA know how to get to the internet in the first place to do anything. I know who to engage to get information.
I think they should look at compensation as one of their systems. What is their system of compensation? That includes player salaries and per diem. All right. They should look at a system for recruiting players, a system of like all of those things. You understand me? Just have different systems that are clearly outlined and they are adhered to. That people have a little booklet with the main points of those things so they can clearly understand what is happening. Eagle Republic says this, that Hal Grimison appears to agree with Leon Bailey about the chop and change issue. He said that he found it unacceptable that Jamaica used 100 players in a 2-year period. Now, this is kind of funny because Coach Whitmore did say he wanted to work with his core players. No,
it's local players.
No,
local developed players. He just didn't say it explicitly. He said core, but that was it. He had a core player group that he wanted that he engaged with.
No.
It wasn't, yeah.
No,
he didn't talk to He didn't talk to overseas players, so how can it be overseas players? He didn't talk to them.
I agree with that part. What I'm saying though, he did say the core players coming out at the Gold Cup. No,
they weren't good enough.
Let's say it this way. There were better players available.
Yes.
Can we agree to that? There are some better players available. All right. But the reason why some of this change took place is because of the systems that work well, the lack of systems in the administration. Because remember what happened? The first set of players actually played while the original set of players were on strike.
Right.
Remember, that is how they ended up getting like Ethan Pinnock. I think Casey Palmer was on that trip. Curtis Tilt, Liam Moore, Dylan Barnes, all of these guys. Amari Bell, Wes Harding, all of these guys ended up playing in a game because the core players weren't playing. All right. Then you had the issue of those who could go to Mexico and who could not. That again was because of a lack of system, why we ended up with Paul Hall being in Jamaica with a group of players and Whitmore being in Mexico with a group of players. I want Jamaica to know this, we were the only team for the duration of the World Cup qualifying campaign that did something like that, where we left a set of players to play a game. Every team found a way of getting their core players to turn up at their games. That to me is a failure of the systems within the organization. And what they probably need is a system coordinator, somebody who they can employ professionally to come in and fix the systems.
No, I believe what they need is new people in the JFF. I'm saying this 101 times again.
But Cranky, but if you put in new people and you have the same system, what's going to happen?
No, but man, you're not listening to me now. New people will know what system they need, man. And make sure they implement the system, man. If you don't know what you're going to do, man, you don't know something, you'll do it. If I tell you to go do algebra, you never do algebra before. Or if you do algebra, you're not good at it, you do the same thing, man. Get the same score. Then you take the test.
So you're saying that change the people and the people will fix the system.
But man, that's how things
change
work.
The system. Or change the system.
Change the system about how you select people to be in the JFF.
But
make the system select the best people.
Cranky, with a good system. A good system eliminate people because the system determines who qualify and who is disqualified from serving.
Yeah, but you got to go back to the electoral process to get the people in place to then implement a system to then make it be seamless and how it functions. Because man, at some point you may have to think about your system, And if you have the same people doing it, you don't know how to adjust and innovate, then you're going to end up in the same place.
Yeah. If there is a conflict, it should either be declared or reported to the board of directors. The board of directors can investigate and either amend transaction or approve it. If the conflict is egregious, FIFA has suspend federation. But Neo, you're asking the people to investigate themselves.
Exactly. Or their
you're
friends.
asking them to report to themselves because it is assumed that assumed that the conflict of interest is within the board and the people who work there. You're saying to them they need to report themselves and then investigate themselves. And if they find that there is a problem of conflict of interest, to report to FIFA. I understand the concept, but that's not going to happen.
I call for the nuclear bomb, which is shut down the program. The government shut down the program. Tell FIFA said this now, where we need new people. Take suspension your time period. Make sure you get the suspension uplifted before the World Cup for the women, and they reconstitute the whole thing. What we have now, management is broken. It's broken. It's fundamentally broken. Unless you fix that management, when you fix something management, don't fix symptom enough. Don't think it's a money issue. It's a few player issue. It's a coach issue. Fix the root cause.
That's what I'm saying to you, Cranky.
No. Fix the people who will then fix the system. Don't try to fix this quota system, and they will put system in place which don't work.
For example, if this coach comes in, the new coach comes in and he says, listen, whenever we are going to play a match, the players must get together by 5 days leading up to the game, or else we are not going to play the friendly. Right. That's the condition under which I'm working. That means the players must get their complete travel arrangement to the game and to their clubs by X time. You put that as a system, and here's the thing, because if that's not going to work, you don't join the system that is not working.
Okay, so what you're saying is this: look, we're stuck with the people running the program. So let's figure out how to work around them to achieve success. And that's what you're saying.
Yeah, until November.
Okay, so I would agree with you in terms of make sure we have these rules and these things that you utilize to make decisions about how we should operate. So I would agree in terms of, first of all, the timing of the squad selection, who made decisions about select the squad, how you source your recruiting process, how you source players, how you bring players in, how you educate and inform them, how you manage all those things. Yes, I agree. They should come up with a long list.
And who asks for the games? If I am the coach, can you arrange a game without my knowledge?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think they got to be careful about that, which is they got to work in tandem with the administration.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, this game was not arranged of course, the coach would have said yes to it. But going ahead, the head coach have to say, listen, if there's a game, I need to know who, because I need to know who is going to be made available to play. Because what I don't want as a coach is to go into a system and play a game on a non-FIFA window, and then I have to select a completely different set of players than the last.
Be careful with that comment. Be careful with that. Here's why. So there are different objectives between the manager, the coach / and the administration. The administration primary role is going to be to generate the income, support the program. And I may have to do games and go to locations which a coach may not support. I give you an example. I will go back to Liverpool or Manchester United. They will complain about going to Australia or going to Hong Kong or going to the US to go play because they don't want to do that. But Arsenal have to do it to build their fan base, to make sure they can generate revenues, and to bring their team to where they have their fans are. There's a conflict there. But how do you come to an agreement that, you know what, this is a necessary evil we're going to do, and get the coach buy-in? And the coach won't have a choice on that management, but at least he's informed way about a time so you know how to manage around those situations.
Oh, geez. Sometimes I listen to brain. Lord, grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change. JFF cannot be fixed.
No, but Brady said what I'm saying, which is replace the people. Brady's saying the same thing I'm saying. I'm surprised Brady and I align on anything. But there's always an exception. You got to change the people.
Neil said,
but if you can't change the people, in the interim, as you're saying, we're going to figure out how can we put some process in place that will work really well to help move the program forward.
All right. Management, as Stan said, the players were not good enough. I prefer to say there were better players available to us. Listen, I'm trying to change the narrative. I think at some point we have to engage in a way that show respect to everybody. We don't have to say they were not good enough, because some of these guys are playing professionally and earning millions.
They're saying they're not good enough. Them good, which is even more impactful. Them for Dashway, which is even worse. And
I prefer to say we had better players available, and our selection was poor.
No, look, I agree with you. The how you're saying, which is don't belittle the players who are part of the program. But saying they're not good enough is saying, based on what is required, they're not at the level that we need to allow us to be successful. I don't think that's disputable or condescending. I think what's basically saying we need players of a certain look and a certain ability to be able to compete at the highest level. Right now, as you said, there are more players available with different skill set, but we may say better skill set that we could bring to the. Look at Manningsman. Today I watched Demarai Gray play Manningsman. He got man of the match for Everton. And I'm saying, if you get a player like this, why would you try to turn over what you can do to bring this player into the program? Play of all the skill sets that you need. He's young, he's skillful. You can see him 2026 he was qualified. He has Jamaican heritage, so he qualifies. You got to figure out his papers. But why wouldn't you be pushing this Spanish man?
Yeah.
That's what the new coach should be doing. The coach should be saying, you know what? Can I figure out first thing the coach should do, figure out the recruitment department. Figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think the coach can even. I think, to be fair to the coach, you just have to come in this game because listen, if in 2 years you use 100 players, right? That means he has at least 100 players to check out for this game. There's
That
no
means
way.
he has no core. That means he has no core.
Yeah, so that means it's going to be hard for him to determine. You know, say probably just work with some people now, and begin to have more time before probably the next game to see who is there and sing. But
I think the next 2 years, man, he should look at 200 players. In the next year and a half, man. You're gonna qualify.
Yeah. And then once the campaign starts,
yes,
yeah. That's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, look at 200 players. Bring them on.
Because see, Michael Sadler is agreeing with me because he's saying that check out how the Sandals group of companies functioning without Butch.
Yeah, but Butch set it up the way.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He put systems in place that even if he's not there,
Butch was competent.
No, that's all right.
Competent man, competent system.
I did say what they need to do is to engage a systems director, a person who comes in and just like how you have an auditor, they come in and say, listen, your systems are flawed.
So you said they should have a consultant. They need a consultant.
Yes, they need somebody to come in and says, everything we're going to build from the ground.
Yes.
Let's knock down everything. Let's create 8 systems of practice in this organization.
Yeah.
Number 1, let's deal with player recruitment. Number 2, player compensation. Number 3, all of these things, executive position hires. Like, what are the systems you use to engage people in your technical committee? And how long do they serve? What are the grounds under which they are removed? What are the targets that you all of those things must be in your systems. Because if you don't have proper system, if you put a genius in there, they're going to have to create it or the system going to kill them, which is part of the political problem. Part of the political problem we have is that people will tell you when the good people go in there,
they get co-opted.
They
get co-opted. They get co-opted.
There you go.
They realize that, you know what, I can't change it, so I'm just going to go along with the program.
Yeah, because the system itself is all messed up. I think the system needs to change. You know?
But the people need to change the system. So will they go get help to change it or they change themselves?
But this is where you and I agree. The persons who are there don't understand how systems work. So they can't change it. They're not, because they think it's working perfect. We don't believe it, you know. But when they look at what they're doing, when they look at the fact that imagine we get an Adidas deal, we don't give them credit, but they look and say, we qualify the girls to the World Cup. We don't think so. We build the Captain Horace Center. We have purchased some buses. We get a new coach. We are paying our players. We don't think it is working, but in their heads, it is working. Someone needs to go there and say, okay, let me do an audit of your systems, and then we will show you. I guarantee you, if you ask any person in the federation, what do they rate? What on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how would they rate their performance over the time of the leadership, which is going into now 5 years? They will tell you 7 or above.
So I would probably use the word process versus system. People are saying also system with like an application, a physical application versus a process. What are your processes you have in place? I just see a compensation process, or your recruiting process, right? I probably use the word process.
Yeah.
What are the various processes you have that informs your program, and how do you make sure those processes are fit for purpose? That's what they probably should do. And I'm sure, look, some of these are smart people, you know, they're not dumb people. They're just not smart in where they need to, the areas where they need to be smart, or they don't operate that way anyway. Or maybe, as we talked about the politics as an analogy or an example, they go in, things work for them individually as people, and they don't matter about the rest of the stuff. So when they get when they forget to play, it worked for them. That's probably part of the problem.
Management, I could use euphemism in writing, but I deliberately structured the sentence in that manner as the questionable selection cost us a place in the World Cup. All right? Now, the coach should have a system of selecting players. How do we select a player for the national team?
I don't know if any. Look, I think it's interesting how players are selected. There's always going to be dispute about players, but Jamaica is in a very unique situation, like some African countries. We're not like England, where most of the players play in the English Premier League, a couple would trickle out to go play in the Italian league. So they have a process of saying, you know what, we can recruit these players. Wales was a good example, Manningsman. Your person you brought on in your program that talk about the Wales strategy about how to recruit players is a good example.
Yeah.
It's a good example of the process they employ to go source players. That's what we need because our players are distributed across the globe. So how do you put mechanisms in place and process in place to do so well? Figure out what players you want to bring in and have them be part of the program.
That is true. Management, no, Boss Thomas, I didn't say that. Management, you really think if it was up to those big ego men, the Reggae Girls would have had the opportunity to qualify for 2 World Cups? There probably would not be any Reggae Girls team existing today. But that is what we believe. I am saying to you, though, the people in the program, they believe it is their facilitating the ideology and ambassadorship of Cedella Marley that paved the way for this. Because without them, you and I don't believe that. You guys are thinking, I believe it. I am telling you.
But Manningsman, when you start using the word ambassador in the Manningsman, facilitate the Manningsman, that means you're not doing it, There's a difference between facilitating, So you're helping here, you're facilitating that, versus you're the one actually executing it. There's a big difference in the Manningsman.
No,
so you can't take all the credit. You can't say, I should get some credit, but you can't get all the credit.
Yeah, Cranky, I am saying that I agree with you. This one, there should be no credit for them. But I'm saying that in their heads,
they think they deserve credit. They think they're
part of the program. We need to understand. I don't think we are realizing. So when people hear us talk and say that they believe so, they are thinking we are saying that we believe so. No, they believe so.
So I do believe the JFF believe that we're all very negative and always see the positive.
They will tell you, if you ask them what have been your accomplishment, they're going to tell you that look at the facility that we built. They will tell you that, listen, we played 17, we played, we had like 18 games in the last year that we have to travel for. And each trip is much $1 million, over 340 million Jamaican dollars. They will tell you those things. They will tell you that, listen, you don't see we have a big deal with Adidas. No, we looking on we are going to say, well, it's not really you. It's a good thing we have those people. But you must understand that even if you and I believe that, they don't believe it. And that is why they think that what they are doing is working perfectly.
So, man, if you have an opportunity to generate $100 million and you generate 10, is that good?
Go again here. Yeah.
If you have an opportunity to generate $100 million, right?
Yes.
All you could do really well, but you only get 10. But 10 is nothing. Is that good?
Yes.
Did you
No, that can't be good.
So that's how we view it, man. You told us to get the Adidas deal. We said, you know what? You could have sell jerseys way back when. You could have sell merchandising.
Exactly, we were saying that.
Exactly.
But here's what they will tell you. Didn't you see us negotiating the Adidas deal? Listen, we are saying that if you had done due diligence from when Neo and all of us spoke, we would have owned that trademark.
Yeah, exactly.
All right? No, you're going to say to us, boy, at least you get $1 million. And so because you're getting $1 million, they will say to you, but look at the big deal that we have had, the biggest deal in our history. While you and I, Cranky, are saying that you don't realize that you missed out on $2 million a year.
Yeah. I think, look, management, it starts from the top until they fix themselves at the top. I hope they can do so. We're not going to be happy with the program because they're going to make missteps along the way, which is disappointing, which is disconcerting, which is going to make everybody go up in arms. I don't think they understand how they're affecting people's lives. Because sports is not integral part of our lives, It's not nice to have, It's a must have for a lot of people, including myself. I love my sports, and I love the Jamaican national team, and I want them to do well. And we keep making these missteps, man, year after year after year, not just with the national senior men's team, but other aspects of the program.
Yeah.
And sometimes management is not that you make progress in the management. It's how much progress you could have made that you haven't made that frustrate people.
You know what is funny, Cranky? I've seen national teams fire and rehire coaches after a few years. I guarantee you this, that none of the coaches that we have relieved of their jobs, at least at the senior level, would come back and work with the federation.
Because they all have very negative thoughts about how the federation operates. Very negative, right?
And like, just look at how the Paul Hall thing transition. You get the feeling like, even in these cases, there is no clearly articulated process of dealing with it, which is one of the reasons I said, though I think what Andre Blake said was not wise, though he has a right to say it, and it wasn't wrong, because what he said is actually a part of the problem. The fact that the federation would have excluded him without any disciplinary hearing speaks to a problem with a system. There needs to be a separate board of governance that deals with players needing disciplinary measures taken, which should not fall in it cannot operate with the same people who are part of the technical committee.
No, what you're saying is they need to re-engineer how they operate. They need to re-engineer the program, inclusive of how they engage with players, inclusive of disciplinary measures, and who have that responsibility and who carry that out, right? So I don't disagree with any of that. Look, the players need to do better. Some of the fans need to do better. Bloggers need to do better. But the 90% of the problem sits with the administration. I believe that wholeheartedly. And you're wrong on one thing, Mannings man. You're wrong on one thing. There's been one coach that was rehired.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, was he really hired the first time?
Well, one coach that was there left with sour taste and came back. So, yeah.
The president...
but you know what? In that case, there are other people involved. It wasn't just them. There are other people who have some semblance of authority that allow that that enable that to happen. Yeah.
But I mean, let's see. I really hope that, because one of my issues with some of the statements about vloggers and things is that vloggers on these platforms, so many great ideas that could transform the football has been uttered, and it is unfortunate. It's unfortunate that in the comments about suing and all of those things, there has not been any credit given to the vloggers for assisting in getting the players from England, which is to the U20, and nothing when persons in this space have assisted with getting documentation for players.
Mannings man, if I give you credit, it takes away from me. If I give you credit, that means it lessens my credibility, it lessens my involvement, it lessens my influence. So why would I give you credit? Yeah. I want to take all the credit for myself.
I will also say to the federation, go and watch the World Cup qualifying round for the females played in Jamaica. How the vloggers push and got people to go out and support the Reggae Girls. Listen to the comments in the space when the Reggae Girls are playing. How many people who were not following the Reggae Girls have started because of the space. So be very careful that in your anger, you don't cut off the hand that is helping you, because there is great benefit that they have provided to the federation by advocating for many things, by engaging many players. And I'm not saying that there have been some distasteful things said in the space that I will agree with, and I make no excuse for those things. However, when you listen to those things, it would be good for you to also speak about some of the other things that have happened in this space as well, that have helped the program. Go ahead.
No, a couple of things. One is, I do believe the JFF has to revisit how they operate. They probably do need to get a consultant in, and maybe they can get people pro bono to come in and help them about the process they have in place, about how they run certain aspects of the program, and allow them to put some structure and process. If they so choose to do so, because they may not, they may say what we do works well, but we all know it's flawed, the process is flawed. Secondly, I do think the JFF, if they're so concerned about the bloggers and how they operate, maybe they should convene a Zoom call with the bloggers so both sides can express their concern and express some of the things that bothers them about how both sides operate and come to a way in terms of how they're going to operate going forward. That means you can control people, but hear their grievances, hear their complaints, hear their suggestions, and try to come to have some kind of discourse that makes sense versus going at each other. In every situation, organizations that get criticized are going to have problems with those who are doing the criticism. We see that sometimes with certain teams where certain traditional media are banned. You saw that the other day with a coach and Fox News. Which coach was it? Not Fox, Sky Sports actually. And some manager had a problem and they wouldn't talk to them. Right? Eventually they made up.
I think there's a time when Marino had that with somebody, you know.
No, it was Marino. There was a more recent one actually. I'm trying to remember who it was. No, it was Ten Hag with Sky Sports reporter who asked him a question he didn't like. So he was ignoring him.
Ronaldo ignoring
he was ignoring him for a while, but eventually they got to a good place, right? Yeah. Which is what you need to do. If you ignore me, I'm going to still report bad things about you. I won't give you any allowance. But if I understand both sides of the equation, it may be a better way of interacting and engaging.
Yeah. Brain Drain, I want to ask you, seeing that you have just jumped onto the girls' wagon, what wagon were you on before you jumped on the girls' wagon? Just a question.
The brainless wagon, the brainless. No, but management, I'll just say this because I'm going to jump off soon, which is my hope is that the coach, here's the thing. The coach has come in. I'm sure he has experiences other places where things have run well, and he has done well because we know he did well in the Euro that he was involved in for Iceland. They leverage his knowledge. They leverage his know-how. They try to have him help them be better at their jobs.
Yeah.
They try to figure out a way, because there's three key things in the management. There's the management, the administration, there is the coach/manager, and then there's the players. And ancillary to that is the press and fans and all that. If those three things work really, really well, you have a good product you put on the field, you have good outcomes, fans will be on board. Even if you don't do things really well in the management, if you're winning, most people don't really care now.
There you go. There you go. Results matter.
But the results are poor and your administration is poor, results matter. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Brain Drain said, let me just, before I get to Kyle, the USA, so what USA wagon you were on?
Oh, he support the USA's women's team, I guess, or USA's national team.
Oh, okay. I thought he was saying that he was on the boys wagon, so he jumped over to the girls wagon. So
is Brain Drain reflective of the Jamaica situation where this is a brain drain from Jamaica? Are you considering yourself to be one of those people who create that brain drain?
Well, you know that recently there was a survey done that we have. I think I don't know if I sent you the article that we have one of the second highest.
Yeah. Brain drain, loss of intellectual capital.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the entire world, can you imagine? And I think what happened is that because we don't utilize people outside of, we don't engage, because how they calculate it is if for example, if you are German and you live in the United States, but you still contribute to the German society, it's not considered brain drain.
So man,
yeah.
I said this over a year ago, and I keep saying this, which is the best example is not Germany, is Israel, and how Israel makes sure if you're Israeli lineage, you become citizen. If your parents or your grandparents are Israeli citizen, you become automatic citizen.
Yeah.
Israel does that brilliantly. I don't know why the Jamaican government wouldn't be pushing this and making sure that the whole affiliation with Jamaica, whether it's through citizenship or other means, things that you do, programs that you have, they're leveraging the global Jamaican community in terms of how we operate. I don't know why we're not doing that and making a concerted effort to do so.
Yeah.
Because most people are going to go someplace to seek opportunities of management. From developing countries, lose a lot of manpower, brain power, because they're going to go where they can maximize their potential.
Yeah, and Kyle says it's more than anger why the GFF is lashing out against vloggers. An election is coming up and they want to strifle, criticism to project their agenda. And that's a very good point there. And then
I would say the JFF is not patriotic. That's my view. If you're patriotic, you would have resigned already.
Yeah.
You make somebody come to the program who can run it better.
All right. As we come to the end of the show, we have Ian Campbell. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Ian.
I want to touch on a topic that you're speaking about. There needs to be a system put in place wherein sports personnel that are trying to acquire Jamaican citizenship, something needs to be put in place that can assist them to acquire same documents in an easier format, because it's very difficult for many of these players to acquire Jamaican citizenship, because some of them you're living, say, in Liverpool or somewhere where it's actually far from London. You have to physically go in for an interview. Yeah, a Zoom meeting could actually work, right? But I don't know. There needs to be some flexibility in how things are done. Facilitate.
That is, when I say that in London, you're talking the Jamaican consulate.
The Jamaican High Commission, in London.
In London. So if the player is in Liverpool, what you're saying is that the Jamaican High Commission would want the player to travel from Liverpool to London for a face-to-face.
So the thing is that, and then the honorary consuls, they're not equipped or skilled enough to deal with certain matters. So it's best, it is in the player's best interest to journey to London, where you have more seasoned and trained professionals dealing with consular
So Ian, let
matters.
me ask you this question. Just hypothetically, say Lionel Messi qualified to play for Jamaica with all his present skill set, and he's in Liverpool, and he needed to go into London and to travel. That to me is a very easy decision to make. If I need to book him a flight, I'm going to book him a flight.
No, but what I'm saying, listen, the issue is that no effort was made to assist the players, none whatsoever.
No, man. No, I'm agreeing. I am agreeing with you, but I am saying that it's a very easy system. If you need the player, you must make the arrangements to ask the
because people.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah,
go ahead.
So people are saying that it's easy, it's seamless. That's not true, because in many cases, what happens is that miraculously, when these people go to England, they change some letter in their first name or middle name, right? Which poses a problem.
So why you use the word miraculously?
Because if your name is Latte or your name is Russell or whatever, come on.
We know why it's not
it's
not miraculously why we change it. You know why we know why sometimes people change those things.
No, I know, but what I'm saying to you is that I also blame the British authorities, because you are not from a particular country, right? You acquire a UK passport, right? And your first name is spelled differently on your Jamaican passport, right? So based on consular principles, you need the original document, which is your birth certificate. Then you'll see the correct spelling of the person's name, right? Along with a photo ID to verify same, right? So what happens is that in many cases, you have scenarios whereby on the birth certificate of the parent and the birth certificate of the player, or would be player, it's a difference in some spelling. Then you have two issues. You must either go to the registrar in England to have it amended, or you have to go through RGD in Jamaica to do a correction of spelling, or audition, which may be the case, right? So what I'm saying to you is not as easy and straightforward as people make it out to be, right?
All right, so Ian.
So Ian, reminds me. Let me just say something. It's very frustrating. So Ian, here's what I suggest. that you and Manningsman get together.
And do a show and you explain all of those.
No, not do a show together. That's what I'm suggesting. You and Manningsman get together. I'm sure Mannings have connection within the JFF. And maybe you can engage.
Cranky, man, you make the man come with double E.
No. But you do. Means the same have contacts. You have contacts. Other bloggers have. Every blogger seems to have contact. Me and Maverick when him attacks him have Birdie.
Are you calling the vloggers double E agents?
No, everybody have contact at Jamaica. It's a small country. Everybody know each other, especially in certain communities. But the point I'm trying to make, Manningsman, is this: is that's where I was talking about how we bring the community together to help solve certain problems, right?
Yeah.
If the acquisition of citizenship is a problem, I'll give you an example, Manningsman. You know, the military. We go to the military. It takes 5 years to become a U.S. citizen if you're a permanent resident. When you go to the military, that get cuts down. It takes 1 to 2 years to become a citizen. So you have an expedited process to become citizen.
you mean die at war?
But you may also you don't have to go to war. Trust me, man, you have to go to war. But anyway, you can die, yes, before you get it. I can get it quickly if you go in for 2 years and come back out. The point I'm trying to make, Manningsman, is that for certain specialized or certain situations, you gotta have an expedited process.
Yeah.
There's a different line that you take and different process you go through. So you know what? If what Ian is saying is this, which is there are some particulars that things don't work in terms of people's birth certificate don't align with their passport, their British citizenship. You work through that because you can trace it back to its origination point and make sure it gets fixed. And then you allow the player to get their citizenship.
But Cranky, here's the issue you have. All right. Who at the JFF is responsible for this?
They gotta have a process for that? That's what
but no, is that what we have been discussing? The issue is
Yes, I know.
That if all right. If
so wait, no. Here's the thing. Who's responsible for recruiting?
Exactly.
The technical committee is supposed to.
No.
Who recruits? Who responsible for recruiting?
Huh?
Who come up with the squad? The technical committee go source players.
No. All right. Here's what I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That there's no system. I feel like, remember, I think Mr. Port and those guys always talk about an agent that
In
they
England,
have that
yes.
works for them.
So
I'm wondering if this is the agent that actually engages players. Because it's definitely not Rudolph Speed. Because every time we ask him about a player, him don't know what club the player play for, him don't know the name of the player, him don't know who the player is, and stuff. So
or is that just convenient on his part?
And then Wendell Downwell is the same thing, and I don't know who else is on it. Because if those two are the most high ranking and they don't have no clue about any of the player that we're talking to them about, then obviously they are not recruiting them.
Well, management, like I said before, when the coach come in, the coach should be having a recruiting department. With either they have volunteers or permanent staff who are involved in this, and maybe a subsection of that whole construct is you have a group or affiliation or association or whatever they put in place that allows them to figure out when I bring a player in who doesn't have a Jamaican passport, there's a process about how you go about trying to get the passport.
Yeah. And let me just say this, Ian. Here's what I think. I'll say to players, right? And to people living outside of Jamaica. If you're in sport, track and field, cricket, football, and you can get a Jamaican passport, go ahead and get it. Because having the passport don't mean that you have to play for Jamaica. You can still go ahead. You can own a Jamaican passport and an American passport. You can own a Jamaican passport and a British passport. Right, Ian? Because if you get it, you don't have to use it. You just keep renewing the Jamaican one. You can have a Jamaican passport and a Canadian passport.
You need to incentivize people as to why they should do something, management. That's the thing. So should they do it have their own position with it? It's not a need in a management, it's a want. Because if you have a British passport, if you have a British passport, American passport, you can go anywhere in the world on it. You can't go anywhere in the world with Jamaican passport. Yeah. Except when you come to Jamaica, the line quicker. You can go to the line quicker. You have a local line. That's it. What do you use it for? But how do you incentivize them to be part of the Jamaican community? Maybe that's, they got to pay money to do it. You don't give them any break in the fees. It's not a need, it's a want. For players, that's different.
Yeah. And the question is this, gentlemen, what's the encouragement? Love for Jamaica? That's it? Sorry, that's not cutting it. That's not enough. They should love Jamaica. Just love Jamaica. We want them to to go through this strenuous process of acquiring Jamaican citizenship passport, and then when they come out here, we treat them like garbage, right?
What I am saying,
What's the encouragement?
what I'm saying, Ian, is this. Listen, all right. I would have to define how that is. Yeah, yeah, man. I said
No,
that.
my thing is that.
Hold on, let me just.
What's the encouragement, though?
All right, so let me say this here, right? So, Kyle, yeah, man, I did speak about that earlier, on the show about Chris Zede. Let me say it this way, Ian. So, what happened with Connor Bice Clark and Luke Badley Morgan is what I think we need to do more of. Get these guys at the under 17 and under 20 level to play in tournaments for
You know,
Jamaica.
to get Luke back.
Yep, no, man. So here's the thing, Ian. I am not here questioning whether it is difficult or hard. Because at the end of the day, we admit. So let's move away from that. We admit that it is very, very difficult to get. So it's not a matter. And there are many hiccups. There are many issues that come along. We all agree on that. All right? So we have to look at now, are there ways that we can help to make the process easier? One of the ways is when the kids are younger, we encourage the parents. This is why we need a department for recruitment. We encourage the parents with the new coach and the project that we have and say, listen, you can get this as we're going to play in the under 17 qualifiers, under 20 qualifiers. If you get that and we fail, it does not prevent you from playing for any England or the United States or Canada. It doesn't.
Management.
Yes.
Management, the first place to start is that administration needs to be more involved. For instance, let's say.
But Ian, but we just said that. I just said to you, I think so. Here's what I just said that.
From the onset.
Yeah, man, but that's Ian. Just listen to Ian. I just said to you, and Cranky said it, and we're all saying it. The organization need a department in it. And Cranky said, even involving the coach that is engaged in the process. That's what we all agreed to. Yeah. So
that's true. That's true. It's 100% true. Something, but as they are currently, much more can be done even without a department. Because even a cover letter can be useful to start.
So I do think the JFF, I do think citizens who have certain skill sets, and we should try to get them access to the JFF. You talk about website before management.
Yeah.
And even the administration they can work with to achieve one of these objectives we're trying to achieve, whether it's recruiting, marketing, website. It probably have to be pro bono kind of campaign. But if we can engage with them in naturalization of people of Jamaican lineage as citizens, we should try to work with them to provide them guidance or help them how we can, because we all see the program be successful, right? So,
hey, listen, Kyle, you know what I think? Reggae Boys Supporters Club. Maybe we need to engage people and raise funds through that is dedicated to help in the process of getting people's passport. And if you can do 10 per year, that's good. Though I believe the federation needs to do it. But until we, like I said, we see the change, maybe we have to be the change in the ways that we can.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just suggesting things because at the end of the day, like if we sit down on our laurels and stuff, a lot of these things are going to keep regurgitating and talking and all of that, you know.
I suggest Ian and you get management, if you can identify someone in JFF you can talk to and try to work through some of those logistics to make it much easier for players who look, we gotta think about this. These kids are pampered throughout their lives, treated like royalties, expect to be treated like that by their FAs, the Jamaican FA or English FA. They treat like that British FA when they play for the junior teams. We gotta figure out a way to make them feel comfortable and want to be part of the program.
Yeah.
And we have to make their lives easier so they can just focus on the football and not the logistics around the football.
Yeah. Hey, Ian. Hey, guess what, man? Listen. Guess what? We've gone past time. Cranky have to leave.
Yeah.
And I have to leave. You want to stay and run the show?
No. Sorry, man. No way. I'll take my leave now.
Yeah.
Till next time.
All right, yeah, later.
Because I have ideas that I think probably can actually work.
Okay.
Right? So we'll talk more on it.
All right. All right. Yeah, man. All right. Blessings, man. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Cranky.
Yeah.
Hey, Cranky, go running. On a day when Arsenal scored 3 brilliant goals, I mean, totally dominated Brentford. We're feeling good.
Manny's man. I'm always focused on the performance, not just the outcome. And
Thomas,
the way party. Wait, Manny's man. So Manny's man, you'll call you.
He's coming for you. He's coming for your people.
Manny's man, I'll call you up. I said on your program, I think Partey is better than Casemiro, and I got grief from all corners, Manning's man. All corners.
You really think that as a CDM, Partey better than Casemiro? Okay.
Manning's man, you don't watch Partey play football, Manning's man. There are few players in football, Manning's man, who can get a ball and survey 3 options and still have space around them and make the right decision almost every single time, Manning's man. Because if you lose the ball now, the forward is on your defense or the opposition. Partey is a brilliant footballer. Better than Casemiro.
People, I think we're taking 10 votes. Thomas
I don't
Partey.
care what. I'm beat my chest. I say this. I don't care whatever I say.
Thomas Partey or Casemiro. Who is the better CDM? 10 votes.
Partey, because people don't watch Partey enough. Go watch Arsenal versus Brentford today and look how a CDM play. A CDM who can progress the ball versus just can make tackles
let the
and
people,
pass
Cranky, let the people vote. Thomas Partey or Casemiro. 10 votes to take it.
It's not even close. Casemiro can't get up McTominay. The argument done. So this whole notion about Casemiro can't get up McTominay. You know what I mean? Good.
What? Yeah. One person said Thomas. Let's see. All right. And then Cranky, so that's 2. All right.
No, man. Watch
what?
Because
Thomas,
you know what?
Partey is better than Casemiro every day and twice on Sundays. It's a lot of Arsenal fans.
Not close. It's not
a lot
close.
of Arsenal fans in here. There's a lot of Arsenal fans. But one done. Yeah, man. We start NFL show next week. Don't worry. So we only get 2 votes. DJ Dre J said Thomas. The Abuk. These are 2 Arsenal fans, so I expect them to choose Thomas Partey. If before the game vote, he's going to pick Thomas Partey because he's an Arsenal fan as well.
Man, I told you guys, I got grief.
He's a phenom. I wonder what he's going to say about Fabian Vieira.
I hear people saying cranking about football in my Arsenal in bias or Partey better than Casemiro. Casemiro play for Brazil, he's their CDM. You guys haven't watched. Only the Partey problem is I'm too old. I'm 35. And say my 29 by birth certificate. But when I'm birth certificate, them last, the real one.
Here we go, Cranky. Casemiro from an Arsenal fan.
Manny's man, I got beaten in a program
Casemiro
and I said
all day, every day, bro. Arsenal
he's a Man U fan.
Hey, listen, one done. Delete the Arsenal fans are mad business and leave them to be correct.
So one done. Why can't Casemiro get out McTominay? Uno say no good. Uno want to get rid of my Fred. I know no saying better than Partey. Manny's man, I said this. Manny's man, I said it's on a program. I think it was on your program where I said that part of the problem with Liverpool is Trent Alexander-Arnold can't defend himself. And I had somebody come in your program and start saying, know me a talk about and go off on them thing. And no more and more people are saying it because I watched Napoli, when they play Liverpool, it was target Trent. Target Trent, destroy him every game. That's why Napoli can beat Liverpool. It was target Trent. Casemiro is a very good player.
Casemiro has won 5 Champions League.
The argument that because I've won a championship, or because people carry me, go win something, say I'm better than their person is illogical argument.
Yeah,
make an argument based on.
I wouldn't use that argument because he wasn't the main. I wouldn't say he was like the team could have won without him. I think the Champions League.
So I guess Gerrard didn't win any Premier League title. He's not as good as Casemiro. Casemiro won 5 Champions League. Gerrard only win 1 or 2. Like, how does that make any logical sense about winning in a league versus somebody who hasn't won and say they're better than them because their team has won? That's not the logical. Tell me about the capabilities. What does Casemiro do so well that's better than Partey? What are his skill sets that say better than Partey? I need to understand that. Because I don't think it's close. The man has been Manu about a month now. He can't get up my people.
No, well, one
argument,
Dan says that is not the case. One Dan is saying that they just don't change a winning team.
Oh wow. Really?
So let me ask you, are you saying that if Messi came to the club, you'd have to sit on the bench? One Dan?
Exactly. I went and bought a CDM because my CDM is not good enough. And when I watch him in trading, I say, you know what? I can't take out the CDM who's there. And it's like McTominay has a reputation as being a very good CDM.
Listen to this one. Shush, none done. The man named One Done, this man called the man One None Done. Arsenal Gunners is the greatest team in the history of English Premier League. Can your teams say unbeaten?
No, I think the greatest team in the English Premier League has been Manchester United. That's undisputable. You have latecomers like Chelsea and Man City. Well, the greatest team has been Man U. It's not disputable. We had the best season. We had an unbeaten team, but we haven't been the best team.
Vieira is ordinary. What? Martin is a phenom. You're still.
Martin, who's a phenom?
Martin Odegaard.
Vieira is ordinary. No, I think they're both very good players.
Big up Patrick Reed saying that Thomas Partey injured too often.
We don't agree with that. I think Partey has played less than 60% of our games. That's why we didn't make top four last season. And that's why we struggle when he's out the team. But when he's in the team, we're a total different team. Yeah, and Xhaka can play forward more. People can express themselves. We're a much different team.
See, Fresh God is saying, Arsenal fans, please stop talking about a club and team you don't know about. Richie is saying, stop talking about Manchester United.
No, we know about Man U. Man U's been good for years. They haven't been good for the last 10 years since Fergie left, but they've been good.
What is this? Impec saying that what? Partey is at Arsenal and not Chelsea because he wasn't good enough for Chelsea?
We don't have anybody named Partey. We have a Partey. Is a different. We don't have anybody named Partey. So we don't know who you're talking about, Impec. When you come with the right name, we can have a discussion. But we don't have nobody. We don't have anybody named Partey. Watch Partey. You know what? Watch Partey against Liverpool when they beat Liverpool. Watch him for Atletico Madrid against Liverpool. That's why we go buy him now. He was all over that midfield, playing against one of the best Liverpool team ever. Watch that game when they played at Anfield and how he bossed the game. Then come talk.
Money is like 90s dance style. What? Old and steel?
No, 90s dance style never gets steel. That's what he means. Never gets steel. Never gets steel.
I know. Well,
so that must be a Man U fan, actually. That's
yeah. He is. Aradar is a Man U fan. He and One Done. But Gunner's boss just called One Done, none done.
I'm gonna leave, but I say this about everything, which is back to the JFF, which is JFF. We want to do better because your success is our success. If you're not successful, we can't be successful. It was our team, the players, and your supporters. So if you get your act together and things function much better, we'll all be much happier. And you'll get plaudits and laudatory comments, and we extol your virtues versus you call it beating you. So please improve what you do so we can all give you the credit that you deserve if you do well.
Do you believe that this administration have it in them to turn things around?
No, but they can listen, they can learn, and they can leverage. The coach just come in. I hope he can help, not only with the football on the field, but behind the scenes, leverage him. Leverage him.
Yeah. All right, listen, Cranky, thanks again for coming on. We haven't done any Arsenal show because of the Queen and all of those things. So next week is game again because, international break, and then we have the North London Derby, 1st of October.
Big game.
Big game. I hope Zinchenko is back for that one, but we need to do some talking during that.
Yeah, but Jamaica playing Argentina. I hope the score stay below 6. Hope Argentina cut it off at 4 and don't embarrass us. That's what I hope.
I have no comments. Listen, everybody, thank you. You had something? You were going to say something else?
No. I'm not going to the game though. I have to go someplace the next day, so I'm not going to. Yeah. But I think Neo is going.
Man is morning for what? My team won. But listen, thanks to everyone for coming on, being a part of the show. Really appreciate your time. For those of you who we may not have read any of your comments, that's just how it is. Sometimes we had many, but I'm very sure that on our next show, if you keep on commenting, at some point it will come up. Before you go, please hit the like button, subscribe if you have not yet to the channel, and listen and share the thing. All right, so here's what we're going to do as well. There are several other vloggers out there. Regardless of what you think, everyone has their own personality. I always encourage you to support them. I have no beef with anyone. I don't have time for that. It's not important. It is not necessary. There's no conflict, and there will not be any. You understand me? It's not important. It is not necessary. We're doing this for the football. So love for the love. Go and support them. You understand me? Even if you don't watch them, it doesn't hurt to subscribe to their platform. I know the coach's desk is on. And the truth is, even if you don't like Ryan's disposition all the time, let me tell you this. A lot of the information that has come out, he has produced that. So you must commend him for that as well. All right. And yeah, we have to help people to be better. And some of you have helped me. Some of you say, Manningsman, calm down. Manningsman, don't take that too seriously. We need to encourage each other to better standards and higher value. So again, I really appreciate you for coming on and being a part of the show. I don't know if Cranky has anything philosophical.
I'll say amen. I'm not a religious. I'll say amen to that. No, look, I don't want to be too loquacious and too verbose in my communication. I just want to say I agree with management 100%. There's a place for everyone in this whole vlogger sphere and the football community. We as a people have to encourage collaboration, engagement across everything that we do as a people. And this unity that we have, whether it's in our general life or in the football community, needs to stop. We have to find a way, because we all want to be successful. We all want the program to be successful. Let's figure a way to achieve that. And JFF, don't take the criticism personally. If you do better, you'll reap better. So,
yeah. And just for the Chelsea haters out there, I'm a Chelsea fan, but I would take Partey anytime over Mount. If Partey can stay fit, need a replacement for Mount. Good player, but too much immaturity in his game.
So one thing about Partey before I go, I gotta say this. Those of you who like YouTube football, go watch, because I don't really watch clips of Partey. I watch Partey's entire game. I'm sure there gotta be some clips of Partey on YouTube someplace. Please go watch him. Look how a real CDM who can progress the ball plays, especially progress the ball between the lines, who actually knows where he's on the field most times, not all times, anticipate where the defense is going to be, get out of trouble, get the ball progress forward, make Xhaka look good, because that's hard to do, make Xhaka look good. He's a very, very good player. And I'm sure in the World Cup, you'll see more of that.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, there we go, people. I am Manningsman. That is the man with all the money. He bought Thomas Partey. He bought Fabian Vieira. He's just buying everybody. Wait and look out in January. Kylian Mbappe may be heading to Arsenal when we win the league.
Come watch a game. They're off. We can't pay him because he paid the salary for the entire team. He's getting paid like £100 million a year. It's a ridiculous number. We can't pay him.
But people, stay safe. Just be good and treat people good. You understand me?
Agree.
Treat people good.
Good night,
all
everyone.
Right. Let me just give you a good one, right? And this is from Cranky, and he shared this with me just quickly. Cranky and Diego go at it in these spaces, right? And both of them met up at an event recently, all right? And when Cranky was sharing it with me, Diego was sharing it as well. You just never know where life is going to take you.
Yeah, we actually are part of the same community, right? So we have the same associations. Went to a friend's birthday party last night, and Diego was there. Diego and Pepsi and others were there. So
there you go.
It was good. We had a good discussion.
Yeah,
we haven't promised not to beat each other in public. That's the goal.
Calabar versus
Casey. It was good. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
All right, so people, when we get to this point, we normally say, man, this is I Am Sure Sports, and we are over and we are out of here.
Yo, watch about dog. SK New heard this. The body out there. Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Ocho-Rios, Galtigo Bay. Everywhere. I Am Sure Sports. Check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like? Ha. Yeah, someone on for the food from young from where they knee height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.